Welcome to the Cantina Chatter podcast.
Turn up your nostalgia.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. I'm Victoria, your host here on the Cantina Chatter podcast, your resource for Star Wars, new and retro toys, pop culture, and randomness from the 80s and 90s. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. It's great to have you back for another episode of Cantina Chatter podcast. And once again, my good friend Toy Shiz will be joining us for one of our world famous retrospectives, in which we get really deep into one of our favorite films, particularly when we're celebrating an anniversary or some milestone for that film. And this time around, it's going to be Batman 1989, Tim Burton's classic Batman film. It was essentially my first introduction to the character. I was just a little kid when that came out and seeing it in the theater. I remember that really well. I remember the toys, and so does Toy Shiz. So we're going to talk about its 30th anniversary. Can you believe that it's been 3 decades since this movie came out? It's mind-blowing. So yeah, we're going to get really deep into it, talk about the film, talk about the toys. It's a really long episode. So if you like Batman, particularly if you grew up with the character in the late 80s into the early 90s, then I think you're going to enjoy it. So hopefully you'll stick with us all the way until the very end. There's a lot of good conversation in here. Also, with regards to the channel, we have been doing a few more toy reviews as of late, focusing on the latest Star Wars toys that were released on Triple Force Friday. Also recently looked at one of the Jumanji animals that are available through Walmart. Leonard is making these fantastic animal toys in their Jumanji toy line, and we took a look at the colossal elephant toy that comes packed with rock, and my nephew's collecting these. They're great toys. It's hard to find quality animal toys that actually do stuff other than like statue type animals, like articulated animals that make sounds and do stuff. That's pretty rare. So this is kind of a special toy line. If you follow me on social media, you've also seen that I've been getting into the Scooby-Doo toy line that's being released through Walmart. I think they've been out for a while. It's just I'm kind of getting into it for the first time. There's a lot of great stuff in there at amazing prices. So I'm really looking forward to taking more of a deep dive into that on the channel in the coming weeks. I'm also going to focus on some more Batman reviews. It's been kind of a while since we really focused on Batman. We did that a lot in the earlier years of the channel when that kicked off back in 2013. So I really want to focus on some of those, especially right now while we're focusing on the 30th anniversary of Batman 1989. I think it's a great time to go back and look at some of these Batman toys that have been coming out as of late. There's not a ton of them, but there are some good ones, and I definitely want to showcase some of those. Another kind of random thing, McDonald's has these Hello Kitty Happy Meal toys. I absolutely love them, and I've been collecting them. I'm like halfway there. I need like 4 more of them, and then I'll have the entire set. I don't usually actively collect Hello Kitty, and I don't really collect Happy Meal toys that often. I used to when I was a kid, but these days there's just not a whole lot that like really excites me. I think the last ones that really excited me were like the Wizard of Oz toys that they did in 2013, and I did collect those, but I think this is really the first set since then that I've like seriously focused on collecting, and they're really fun, and they're Halloween oriented, and Halloween is coming up in just a few short days. So if you're listening to this episode as it goes live, then yeah, you're getting ready for Halloween as well, and I wish you a happy Halloween. Also want to mention that Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, the trailer finally came out last week. I did want to do a special like mini episode talking about the trailer, but I got sick a couple weeks ago, and still kind of getting over that a little bit, and my voice wasn't up to par. I wasn't able to do it, so we will break it down a little bit in the next episode, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, let's not waste any more time. Like I said, this is a really long episode, so I want to go ahead and bring in Toy Shiz so we can talk Batman. It's hard to believe that it has been 30 years since that original 1989 Batman film that has endured for 3 full decades. It's like, it's crazy. And here to talk to me about it, the legacy that it's left behind, our memories of when it came out, and how we feel about it now, as well as, of course, the toys, because there's tons of toys that were released during this era for this film, is none other than Toy Shiz.
Hey everyone, how are you? I'm waving. You just can't see me doing that.
I can see you. No, I can't.
Well, just put in a GIF or something like that.
Yeah.
Just, no, thank you. Thanks for having me on again. I always enjoy our little talks that we have. Well, we did Independence Day last time, right? That was fun. I keep seeing more and more Independence Day toy videos ever since we did that. So I feel like it's all our doing. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure that had to have been what it was.
Yeah.
No, that was a fun chat. It's always great to talk to you about toys because, obviously, we both have this long history with toys and collecting and, these movies that, we are so drawn to and still, really love. And, I think that's why you're always a great guest to have on the show. And,
well, thank you.
Of course. So, Batman 1989, can you believe that it has been 30 years since this film came out?
I don't like when people start reminding me anymore about how old the franchises that I like. Like I had Spider-Man the animated series was 25 years and now Batman 89 is 30 years. Ghostbusters is 35 years.
Yes.
So I don't like that. It makes me feel old, and then everyone else is like, "Oh, look how young I am." I'm like, "Oh God." Like,
I know, right?
Do I still look good? No.
You're like, "Oh, I thought Ben Affleck was the only Batman."
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. No, Christian Bale, and then they're like, oh wait, Ben Affleck was Batman. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
No, I think that Christian Bale was probably like the best overall Batman, but when it comes to who's Batman, I don't think anybody beats Michael Keaton.
I think that is extremely accurate. There's something about Michael Keaton and just the timelessness of the Tim Burton movies, which resonates. The Dark Knight and the Christopher Nolan movies, I think, really kind of time stamped them a little bit, just in terms of the point era and all the technology that they used, and then the Tim Burton ones were more even to an extent, like Joel Schumacher. They just had like a very timelessness about them.
Yeah.
Maybe towards Batman and Robin, they kind of started to, fizzle a little bit. But I think that's what makes them kind of stand out. amongst the other ones.
Yeah, no, that's actually a really good point because, when you look at, that original 89 film, it is set in a very, gritty Gotham City. But it doesn't really it's not really like, they don't really date it. Like the cars are almost like those 1930s, 1940s cars, but
yeah,
I mean, they obviously have television and technology, so it's kind of more modern and
Prince. They have Prince.
They have Prince, exactly. So I guess maybe that dates it just a little bit, but
right.
But yeah, even like you said, like the Joel Schumacher films, like those are, it's like a neon Gotham, and there's like, the gangs that are all like, with the lights and the clowns and all that makeup.
Yeah.
So it does seem a little futuristic.
Yeah, and it's the artistic quality to it too. It's almost comic booky in a sense, but it's void of all the CGI madness that's been going on in a good way. I mean, CGI can be great, but when you're fighting like 1,000 parademons and Batman's winning somehow, it's a little weird.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too off track, but I mean I wasn't a huge fan of the more recent, other than Wonder Woman. I love, Wonder Woman, but like the other films
the other films that they've done though, like Justice League, they're okay, they're entertaining while you're watching them, but they're kind of forgettable after that. Yeah. I when it comes to like the main, like Batman, Superman, all them, I prefer Aquaman and Shazam and Wonder Woman over. If you just started with those and then you can reintroduce Batman or Superman, go for it.
I just kind of, it's kind of like a lost opportunity because they really did have a chance to kind of go back and really build out their universe, but I felt like they were just trying to do, Batman versus Superman, and that kind of like, they could have built up to that a little bit better, but
yeah, it
is what it is. Now they're rebooting things and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what Matt Reeves does, right? With what's his name? Twilight. You know who I'm talking about.
Of course I do. I read those books.
Oh, you did? Oh,
yeah.
Well, I've heard of those books. I've never read them. I mean, I've seen one or two films, but I won't admit it ever. So
nice. So 1989. I think I was 4 years old. I was little. I was probably like in pre-K, I assume. So do you remember the first time you saw this movie?
I want to say I didn't see Batman 89 in the theaters. I saw it on, I want to say it was on TV or VHS. I more distinctly remember seeing Batman Returns because I remember going to the movies with my dad and they had the big poster, they had Penguin, Catwoman, and Batman on that. Really, I mean, I think everybody said it was in every theater almost. And I remember I'm like, Dad, I want to go see that. And probably because I didn't know or I wasn't aware that there was a first one, because I was like, oh, Batman Returns, and I think he explained it to me like there was one and that kind of thing. But I just want to say that I saw the original 89 Batman probably on a VHS or TV of some sort. So
gotcha. Yeah, I actually had that poster on my wall, the one with Batman, Penguin, and Catwoman.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, back then. But yeah, no, I was 4, I think, and it must have been like one of the first 5 movies that I saw in the theater, because I think the first movie I ever saw in the theater was The Land Before Time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that dates me. But yeah, so I remember seeing Batman. I think it was my older cousins that had taken me, and it was weird because usually, at that age, you don't really go to the movies without like your parents. So
yeah.
My older cousins, they were a lot older. They took me, and I don't remember who else went, but I know a couple of my older cousins were there, and I still remember sitting there. It was a packed theater. And being absolutely terrified when Joker shakes that one guy's hand and burns him to a crisp.
Yeah. When you're a little kid and you see that, you're like, my God, what did I just see? And I think I want to even say that, Batman, the animated series, had just started to kind of come out around when the big Batman Returns because of designs and stuff that they had taken. So my knowledge of the Joker was like, it's just this dude that kind of is more of like a clowny type guy. Yeah, he's bad, but to see that, I was like, oh my god! And then it's just totally Tim Burton skeleton going on.
Right.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I still remember like my cousin kind of reaching over and be like, "Oh, are you scared?" Just like trying to like console me a little bit. I didn't cry. I was just like really like, "Oh my god, what the heck is this? What's going on?"
I think I probably cried. I probably was like scared to go to bed that night or something. That and when Kim Basinger splashes him with the water and he's like, "Ow, my face!" He's like screaming, and then he looks at her and it looks like he's like bleed. It's his makeup, but it looks when you're a little kid. I was like, that scared the heck out of me too.
That's funny.
I don't know. It was quite a time back then for movies.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think we were subjected as kids to kind of a little bit more like horror than kids might be these days.
And look at it, we grew up fine. Now we're doing podcasts talking about it. It's fantastic.
That's our therapy. We're talking about it 30 years later.
Yeah, we don't have no problems or lingering side effects that we know about.
Of course not.
Of course not. It's perfect. Well, I think that I honestly, I tell this to a lot of people, especially when I post stuff or people comment. I think that kids are being dumbed down too much these days, to the point where they don't understand right and wrong, good and evil. And when you see a movie like Batman '89, it's very much like Batman's the good guy, Joker's the bad guy, and you stop him no matter what. And I think that they have blurred the lines too much between like, oh, who's a bad guy, who's a good guy. And the bad guys are always redeemed. They don't have to die and stuff like that. It's like, no. It don't teach kids. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You kind of have to, work around that, and they have to understand that, yeah, if you're a horrible clown that kills people, you probably need to die. Like, there's no coming back from that.
No, that's a really good point. I mean, as you know, I work in education, so I mean, this is something that I see quite a bit, and I mean, we talk about it a lot with, and we see it in quite a few different TV shows and films where they try and put the bad guy on a path of redemption, which I think is okay once in a while, but
I agree. Yeah, when you can do it right and it makes sense, like then I totally think that's
like Darth Vader, great. Like Negan in The Walking Dead, I've really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
but
I'm trying to think about Kylo Ren in this. I've actually talked with this quite a few. I'm like, how do you he killed Han Solo, for God's sake? You don't come back from that.
Yeah, but then again, Anakin killed a bunch of like little kids.
We didn't see that. Allegedly, he could have stashed them away. Those could be the Inquisitors or something now that he's got going on. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. But
but no, I hear you. Yeah, he definitely slaughtered them. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing of it is like and I know we're getting off on a Star Wars tangent here, but like Vader's redemption was kind of like it was very revolutionary in that universe, like because nobody expected it. Luke is the only one that really thought it was possible, and he made the impossible happen. And I think like trying to repeat that with Kylo is just it's repetitive, and it also kind of like cheapens like the fact that it happened with Vader.
I agree, yeah, and to be honest, like Luke is pretty much the only one that actually gets to see any type of redemption. Everyone else is just like, oh, he's dead. Okay, that's good, I guess, for the galaxy. But
it's like
we'll see what happens, what they do.
Yeah, I do wonder like how Rey knew about that, because remember in The Last Jedi she was like, oh yeah, you saw the conflict and you redeemed him or whatever she said, and it's like how did the galaxy know about that?
She better be like, I don't know what they're gonna. I want such high hopes for this last movie, just to be good and me to be like, I'm okay with that. That's good, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're gonna do. As long as there's no space whales in it either that tell you that explain whales. Why they have like light speed. Light speed.
The Purrgil from Rebels.
Yeah, and time travel with Ahsoka. That's another one.
Yeah, that was interesting. I hope we don't see the time travel thing. I don't mind flashbacks. I think that's okay, and if it's done right. But I don't need to see time traveling in Star Wars. It just
it's odd, right? It doesn't feel right. It's like it's going the wrong direction, I think, for that type of world. Like Star Wars can not do stuff that everyone else does once in a while. I mean, It's good, but we are getting off on a tangent. I know everyone is like, talk about Batman. Like, what do you guys do?
Yes, we know you guys are here for Batman, so let's continue with Batman. So, yeah, I remember really enjoying this movie. Other than the fact that I was kind of terrified of that scene, I remember like leaving the theater and liking it. What I'm trying to remember is if I had my first exposure to Batman was this, or if it was the Adam West series. Because I know that was on TV in reruns at the time. I'm sure it still is somewhere. And I just don't remember. It was one or the other, but either way.
I think for me it was Adam West, and then also like comics. My grandfather would constantly take me to the comic store. My dad, so a little bit of both, and then the main was Batman Returns mixed with Batman the Animated Series. That's when like Batman really like hit home with me. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna collect the Kenner toys, and I got so yeah, that's my takeoff point for Batman.
Nice. Yeah. I don't remember, but either way, I enjoyed the film. I thought like when I left the theater, I liked it, and obviously liked it enough to start getting into the toys. And we'll talk about the toys in a little bit.
Sure.
But how did you like the film after you saw it the first time?
I actually I liked it. The problem, and I remember like being a little kid, and then knowing that I used to have this old book, and in the book it had every single origin story of the superheroes. So it was like, but it was all like Golden Age origin stories. So when there was stuff with the Joker in it, and then you found you pushed him in the vat of acid and all that kind of stuff. So when you see that in live action, you're like, oh, that's all. It's just like the book and things like that. That's really cool. But what got me, I think the only part that really like was the fact that he was the one that killed Bruce Wayne's parents, and then I was so upset that he died at the end. The Joker, I was like, wait, he doesn't come back? Like, that doesn't make sense. He comes back for every other weekly adventure. Why isn't he coming back? And I remember telling my dad, I'm like, is he dead? And then my dad's like, no, he's like, probably doing that. Like, no, don't worry, he's fine. And so for a while, I had
he's sleeping,
right? Yeah, I had that idea in my head because he had his little the chattering teeth are going in his pocket.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh yeah, he's still alive, he's good. And then like months later I was like, no, he's not, is he? He's dead.
Yeah, no, he fell from like 100 stories, but he's okay.
Yeah, Batman totally didn't kill him, by the way. He just made it so that he would die somehow.
Yeah, now that you bring it up, that is something I kind of want to talk about a little bit, is that historically, my understanding is that, and I'm not a huge comic book person. I'm a huge film person. Comic books, not so much. But Batman doesn't traditionally kill, right? I mean, in the comics, like historically,
no. In the very original comics, they used to, Batman had a gun, and various functions of a gun, gun, pistol, and then a gas gun and things like that. And then, they did what they did. They kind of revamped and was like, okay, let's make it so that he doesn't kill, which that is the permanent thing for Batman for me. Like, Batman in no way, shape, or form will actually kill you. You're going to fall. He'll catch you, and they've kind of gone away from that a little bit. And surprisingly, in like Batman Begins, let's say, like, he tells him at the end, like, oh, he's like, I'm not going to kill you, but I'm not going to save you. And I was like, right. Okay. Like that kind of that works. Like I'll allow that. But when he just started straight up murdering people in Batman vs Superman, I was like, no, like this is wrong. But hand in hand with Batman '89, when he does kind of get the Joker, and then he ends up falling to his death because of the gargoyle and all that kind of stuff. He should have done maybe a little bit more to save him, let's say, and the Joker ends up causing his own death. Uh-huh. But still, I would say inadvertently, he didn't actually kill him. I just like to, joke around. But Batman shouldn't mess with that. He saves you no matter what. It's just that's his forte. So.
Yeah, and the Nolan trilogy, I think this was one of the stronger aspects of it. He had that strong moral code. He was gonna beat you to a pulp, but he wasn't gonna murder you. And, obviously that was a huge part of The Dark Knight, him contrasting with the Joker.
He killed Harvey Dent at the end, though. He tackled him. And he didn't save him. And then, he totally killed Harvey Dent, too. He's a straight-up murderer in those movies. No.
In this 89 film, he does go on a couple killing sprees. He's not shy about, killing.
Yeah.
The thing that sticks out the most in my mind is when he goes like to the, I don't know, it might be the Ace Chemicals lab, or it's some other location where there's a bunch of like Jokers. Oh no, it's where they're manufacturing like the makeup and the cosmetics and stuff.
Oh,
and he just like goes and like straight up like nukes it or something, and the whole thing blows up.
Yeah, there were living people in there, like janitors, and it's probably a guy that stayed late at the office and stuff. So
right.
He's just.
Yeah, and then he, obviously he does this in Batman Returns too, and he like sets people on fire and blows them up, and
oh yeah, the Batmobile has guns on it, and tosses that dude in that basement thing or whatever, I forget what it is, and then he tosses the bomb in with him, and it blows him up.
Yeah, he attaches it to him somehow, like magically, and then the guy goes in. Yeah.
I don't know why I always thought that was supposed to be like a silly, like, oh, it's not really that big a bomb. It's like, it's cartoon physics, or something like that. But no, it totally is the wrong thing for Batman to be doing.
Yeah, but no, I totally agree with you. Like in, Batman v Superman, and, it's like, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, the one scene that always sticks out to me is that it's the guys that they're in a police or the chase with the Batmobile, and the guys are on the truck, and for the first thing he like annihilates the whole back half of like one of the trucks, and then Batman does the thing where he disappears, and like, oh, is he gone? And then he just slams the Batmobile, and the tire, the point shot like angle is a tire like just smashing a dude's face, and you're like, well, he's dead. Like that wasn't like, oh, I'll let that go. He didn't know he was doing that. It's like, no, you intentionally murdered that person.
Yeah, what a contrast.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting thing. But I can kind of look a little bit more past it, in these films for some reason. I don't know if it's because it's like you say, it's a Burton film, and
it's not as blatant. It's like. It's more of a fun comic book movie over the more serious nature of, like, say, like the Nolan ones, or even the Batman v Superman. I think that's the pass it gets from me, is that it's a little bit more like tongue in cheek, like fun, as opposed to like, oh, that guy's dead. Like,
right? Yeah.
He might be dead. We didn't see it.
Yeah,
so.
They don't really dwell on it. He just kind of takes care of business, and like they kind of, he has reasons for I mean, obviously, like maybe that was the only way he could stop that factory from poisoning people, was to blow it up.
Yeah, that's true. Like that's like, what's your options? Just blow it up. All right, that's fine. That works.
Yeah, but there's some great things about this film, and I think one of them, and right before we started talking, I mentioned to you that I had been listening to the soundtrack. This film has an awesome score.
The opening is like the key Batman like opening. I love the tunes, and like you're spot on. It's a great orchestral, just perfectly fitting for Batman, and it's carried on, I think, in a lot of the other aspects of Batman we see, especially in the animated series. Is always very just uplifting, but theatrical and everything else. So.
Yeah. No, that opening scene from the first one where, they're kind of showing you like the carving of the Batlug or whatever it is. I remember the first time, seeing it in the theater and seeing that, and I was like, what is this? This is weird. But, it's actually pretty artistic.
Yeah. And I think it's a great way to kind of introduce you, because you're on like a ride. And then when you finally realize, like, oh, it's the bats, like you're in for good things. Like this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
So I think they nailed it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this theme, I don't know what your thoughts are, is probably like the most iconic of the Batman themes that we've ever had.
Yeah, I think so. And I think just in terms of what other uses of Batman have taken from this movie, the sound and the music is all like that's like the tune for Batman. It always has to be some kind of orchestral, just really nails home the fact that this is like a gothic just figure, and you got to have like all those like heavenly hymns and all that stuff behind him. So
right. And I think that like even like the roller coasters like at Six Flags parks like use the theme too for the Batman coasters.
I have never been there. I've always wanted to go to Six Flags. I'm embarrassed to say I have never been on any of those rides.
Oh, well, yeah. I have a harder time going. Like I feel like the older I get, I feel like it's harder for me to do all those rides.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy roller coasters. I'm not like a hardcore roller coaster fanatic. Like these days, like I feel like I can say I'm not going to do that. I'll be happy. But before it was like, peer pressure and like, I don't know. I just felt like you have to get the full experience and do all that. But like these days I'm like, nah, I'm good.
I say that about the Matterhorn when I go to Disneyland. I'm like, no, yeah. I'm good. I don't want back problems for like the next week. Thank you though.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised that that's still like in its original form, like they've never like fixed it.
It's like when I see kids on that ride and they're like, "Oh my god, that was like the best thing ever." I'm like, "Get out of here! Like, just get out of here! Like, you don't even know what you're saying."
Yeah,
like I feel like I got like beaten up.
Yeah, that ride will definitely mess you up for a little bit. Oh yeah. Yeah. So anyway, the music's awesome. I really love the soundtrack for this one, and of course, there's also Prince. We have a few of his songs throughout the film.
Yeah. That's I don't know, that to me, like when I was like younger and I'm like, oh, this isn't Batman, you know what I mean? And now I kind of have like a fondness for it because it dates the movie and it doesn't date the movie in a weird way, and I don't know why, but it's like you just hear it, you're like, oh, that's Prince, you know what I mean? Come on,
yeah, it's
such a gloriously 80s reference movie, everything else, so it works.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think the touches are done well, and I don't know. It just seems like pretty fitting to me. I mean, if they're gonna have to have music in those scenes, it just kind of makes it's like, why not Prince? Sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like, who else were you gonna put? At the like Madonna? That's not gonna work. That's the wrong way to go.
Yeah.
But I think in the theatrical sense, if you have Batman, and it's as weird as it is, and you have Prince, who's as weird as it is, yeah, it's a good fit.
Sure.
They both enjoy dressing up, so
yeah. So I was always like kind of fascinated with the opening like moments of this film. So the family kind of gets like robbed right by the two thugs, and Batman just kind of like, I don't know if it's like in slow motion or what, but he just like slow jumps like down to them, and it's like really like he just like glides. It's like, how does he do that?
You know what? I like that because it doesn't have to make sense. You got so much weirdness going on as to begin with. Why not, have it be this like elegant kind of drop down, or just that's what he does. I think the thing that like you're saying, like I really like the opening scene up until the point where he kind of slowly rises behind the guys, and you're like, oh shoot, he's gonna mess these guys up. But then they immediately turn around and shoot him, and he goes down. And I thought that was odd, because I'm like, you know what I mean? It kind of been cool. Maybe he like quickly, like he fell off the building, or they thought he like hit him or something like that. Because then they go over and they're like, oh, who is he? Like, check his wallet. It's like,
yeah, that was great. And then they're like, oh yeah, some kind of body armor, and oh, he's human after all.
Yeah, that's real. That's just a nice way of setting up exactly what this Batman entails. Like, okay, he's got rubber leather. It's bulletproof.
Yeah,
so.
I kind of feel too like he's wearing like when you see his boots, it looks like he's wearing like Reeboks, and then he has like boots like put on top of him or something.
Yeah, and you know what, and I know we're not into the toys yet, but that always reflected in the toys too. Have you ever noticed that? Like, he looks like he's wearing shoes with like shin guards and stuff.
Yeah,
and I definitely have always noticed that. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's so weird, but we'll take it. I mean,
It's the 80s.
Yeah, well, that Reeboks are in, and Batman's got to be comfortable when he's out there fighting crime.
Yeah, he can't turn his neck, so he's got to be able to be more athletic with something. So
yeah, at least his feet are comfortable. That's important.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no. So the characters in this film, I think like all the actors are like spot on. Like everybody. Like there's not really like anybody that's like, oh, why'd they cast this guy or that guy? Like I feel like everybody in this film is like spot on.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. So it's a shame Billy D. Williams didn't do more with the Two-Face character that they had originally promised. But I think everyone gets the right amount of screen time. I'm glad they put Vicky Vale in there, but I think they went too much with the romance aspect a little bit. You don't always need that with superhero movies, and I think that was like always the big thing with most superheroes is to always save the girl or things like that. But
yeah, no, that's true.
It works.
It's just like at the very end, I think like she gets like the last line, doesn't she? Like I think like Alfred says like, "Oh, Mr. Wayne wanted me to let you know he's gonna be late tonight," or something. Yeah. She's like, "Oh yeah, I expected that," or something or other.
Yeah, I just love how like in the next movie they're like, "Where's Vicky Vale?" Like I don't know, it's just gone.
Exactly, and that's I think one of the things like you said about superhero movies, when you do have like a romantic interest, a lot of the time they don't hold up, because it's like if you think about just these 4 Batman films that from the 90s, 89 and 90s, each one had a different love interest.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and it doesn't and I agree, when they do that it kind of cheapens it. Like, okay, why was he really? He was just interested in her right then and there. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't really go anywhere. And she knows your secret identity, dude. It's like, come on.
Right. Yeah, no, it's, but yeah, looking at the cast, so, Michael Keaton, like we said, Batman. And I love Michael Keaton, anything he's in. He's like, certainly like one of my favorite actors. Mm-hmm. But I think he was like, I don't know, he just like feels so perfect as Batman. In these earlier films, like, I don't know, like he just like, he played the duality really well, I felt like.
Yeah, I think so. Especially, he's like, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts." And I think that Bruce Wayne, when you're Bruce Wayne, it's always supposed to be played more as like he's kind of like an airhead. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm just some rich guy. But I think in this sense, in this movie, he was a little bit a tougher. Like you could kind of piece that together. Like, okay, you could be Batman, but you play it well enough to like, oh, you're still just like the rich playboy guy. You're not gonna do anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he played it perfectly. Like, and he's got the look and everything else going on. So
yeah, he had that thing too at the beginning where like Vicky Vale's like, "Oh, can you tell me who's Bruce Wayne?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know."
Yeah.
That's funny. And then what was he doing that moment when like she wakes up and he's like hanging upside down?
You know what? I've always like kind of wondered. I'm assuming that they're trying to like the Tim Burton is trying to do that whole thing where like, well, let's make him do things like a bat. You know what I mean? And kind of really nailing that home. And then I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, it's a little weird because I can't think of any like. Other than, obviously that's what he was going for, but I can't think of any like logical reason why you'd want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, okay, well, Tim Burton ran out of ideas or something. You know what I mean? Like, let's just have him hang upside down.
Yeah, like a moment that totally didn't need to be in the film, but it's like, okay, let's just do this just for the heck of it.
Yeah. You know what? I just thought, okay, so when you're saying like of any actors in the movie, the guy who plays Knox, I forget his name.
Robert
but I think
Wool.
Yes. Oh, Robert Wool. I think that's the one character where I can go, no, you can. He does kind of like step up at the end a little bit and has like kind of a little bit, more to do. But that was a character where I was like, oh.
Yeah. I know where you're coming from, but I don't know. I like him. I like Knox.
Yeah. He would just seem like the poor punching bag guy. And
exactly.
I felt bad for him, and.
Yeah, that's true. He was definitely like, a little bit of comic relief here and there. And, he could be a little bit annoying, just kind of in your face. Like, oh, tell me about what you're doing about Batman, this, that.
Yeah.
And people are teasing him in the office. And
I think the guy that I originally, when I first saw the movie, I was thinking like it's like Harvey Bullock or something like that. And then he's got the cigar, and he's like, the bigger guy, and he's like, Knock, he's got that like, don't stick your business into the, like in my way, Knock. So I liked that. He was a corrupt cop and everything, so it worked. And then of course Jack Palance, who he talks like this, and what I mean, like he was great.
Yeah, no, he was good. And his death scene is pretty epic too.
Yeah, I love that, like the behind the back kind of firing, and then he's laughing the whole time, and that was very Joker. I think that they did that that scene very well. So
yeah, and like talking about these, like these characters like Grissom, and like these dirty cops, things like that. Like I kind of feel like that was a really good element of the film, like kind of showing the seedier element of Gotham that Batman's trying to clean up, and showing like the gangsters and the mob, and just kind of, they didn't get too deep into all of that stuff, but they gave you just enough to show you, okay, the mob's big problem. There's all these guys that are causing a lot of problems for the city, and Batman's necessary. I think they did a pretty good job demonstrating that.
I think so too. And when I think of Batman, I don't think Batman needs to go to space or time travel or dimensions and all this stuff. Batman is just the guy that fights the mafia, and then you have like these other crazy criminals that come up out of nowhere as a result of him like interfering in that. And I think that's what Batman will always be to me. Like I want, like, for whatever reason, you can have like the future and everything else, but as soon as you step foot in Gotham, it's like the 1920s, and you have gangsters, and you got like the Great Depression or whatever. I mean, it's just that's what I always think about with Batman, and I think that they really did do that well, and especially with the atmosphere and the look of Gotham, and like you said, like gangsters, and then the way they dressed, and they all had names, and it worked.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a good point. Going back to Knox real quick. At the very least, he did get a grant, didn't he?
From the Wayne Foundation.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, he was like, Alfred, give Knox a grant or something.
Yeah. That's right.
So he got a little bit of money.
The one thing I like that they threw in, and I didn't know this until like years later, but when they go like, oh, hey, like we found your Bat character, and they have the drawing of like the Batman, and that was apparently the first actual drawing that was done when they were like, oh, let's do Batman. So I like that they kind of threw that little tongue-in-cheek moment in there.
Nice. Yeah, it was a cool drawing. Like, yeah, I like it. Okay, so we got to talk Jack Nicholson, obviously.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
That guy, yeah. So he's Jack Napier, also known as Joker.
Yep.
And he's got a pretty big role in this film. He actually got top billing over Michael Keaton.
I like that. I like that the villain. It's like kind of like Schwarzenegger did with Clooney in Batman and Robin.
Good point. Yeah.
But he is so crazy in real life, and just things that I've heard about him, that he of course would fit this Joker role. Like he's a wild man of Hollywood.
Right. Yeah. No, that's totally true. And I mean, he does seem like, when you just see him like on TV and stuff, or he doesn't really do a whole lot these days, right? He's not really in films anymore.
No, he basically, I think he just goes to the Lakers, or he lives at Lakers.
That's the only time you ever see him is at Lakers games.
He's at the Staples Center 24/7.
He's got like a room somewhere there like he lives in.
Yeah.
But no, it's true. Like when you see him like on TV and stuff, he seems like he would be like pretty like wild, like unpredictable dude. And totally fitting. But I think he played like both aspects of Joker really well. Like when before he has like the accident, and he's just like Jack, like he's like this really serious like mobster, and I think he plays that really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's scary. He's scary as the mobster, and that's what the Joker should be. And then when, of course, like the accident happens and things, then it's more like terrifying. You're like, oh my god, I had an idea of what this guy was capable of, but now not so much. Like he could shake your hand, or he could blow you up, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Like, you don't know what he's going to do. It's like that moment where, they're having like the press conference about, I think about the parade or something. And then he shows up with like his mimes and his guys there. And like, he sticks the pen in that one dude's neck.
Yeah.
And oh gosh, he has a great joke in that moment. I'm trying to remember what he says. I think he says something like, "Oh, so it's true. The pen is mightier than the sword."
Yeah, exactly.
It's epic. But then like he just like waves goodbye to Bruce Wayne, like whatever. Like it's great.
They have like that moment too where it's like they both kind of like recognize, you know what I mean? Like not really, but you get that sense where that's the key moment where they see each other, and you're like,
right.
Okay, these are where these two characters are gonna, start to be at each other, finally. So.
Yeah, that's probably like the moment where like he starts to take Joker seriously, because I think like you said, he that's when he's like walking around, right? Like they're shooting up, but he doesn't even duck or anything.
Yeah, he just kind of walks, and he's looking at him going like, "What the heck? Who is this guy?"
Yeah,
so.
Such a weirdo.
Doesn't he get shot in the shoulder, or like it grazes his shoulder, right, or something like that?
It hits like his jacket or something.
Yeah, that's right. And I like that the little wave he does. He rolls out the window and he's like, "Bye-bye,"
Yeah, it's funny. But yeah, no, I awesome portrayal of the Joker. I know everybody has their favorite Joker and their rankings of who's the best and whatnot. But I really enjoy this portrayal of Joker.
Yeah, it's a good one. I talk about it a lot. I think even with the recent Mattel Multiverse, they did another Heath Ledger Joker, and I know the reasoning behind it is that it's a likeness rights and all that kind of stuff. I guess either Nicholson is very protective about his right, the likenesses and stuff like that, or it's more of a mess with Warner itself or something to that degree. It's harder to get.
Mm-hmm.
So I had said, I'm like, they're like, what do you think about the Heath Ledger Joker? And I was like, well, I mean, it's been overdone, I think, and now I want to see a Jack Nicholson Joker again. I want that. So
yeah, I do too. And I think they've only done like the Hot Toys like figure, right? That's like the actual Jack Nicholson Joker.
Yeah, I think, and then also maybe like outside of like, I want to say like a bendy toy or something like that's not like action figure really much at all. It's stuff like that. I think that came closest to maybe capturing his likeness. If off the top of my head, I have to look into that. But no, I think you're right. The Hot Toys was it. NECA couldn't not say couldn't, just they couldn't do it, but they did the Michael Keaton Batman. And then that was, and they did the Penguin. Did they do the Penguin? I know Mattel did a good Penguin, but or Danny DeVito Penguin, but
that I know, getting off topic again, but that Joker figure goes like to $600 to $800.
It's gorgeous. Do you have that?
I wish I did. I really wish I did.
I wish I had any Hot Toys. I don't have any Hot Toys. What are you doing? We need Hot Toys.
Yeah,
Victoria first.
Yeah, I'll just don't get started. If you buy one, you're gonna have to buy more.
Oh, I know. You get all the Star Wars ones, right?
Not all of them. I pick and choose. Like I have, just I try and get like the main characters mostly.
Yeah.
But I'm very selective because of the price point.
Yeah.
But I have the Batman Returns Batman.
Oh, that's cool. How is that one?
Oh, it's amazing.
You have to send me photos of that one. Yeah,
it's easily my favorite Batman costume. Batman Returns.
See, it's funny. And before we started, I told you, I pulled out Batman, the Kenner stuff. It's all sitting on my desk right now. So
love it.
I'm looking at it as we talk. But the Batman that I have, that you pulled out the utility belt, the little cable and stuff. It broke recently, and I was like, no. So I gotta do something. I don't think I can fix him, but he's sitting here, sitting here.
That's funny because I'm holding in my hands right now that same exact figure.
Whoa!
This is my original 1989 Toy Biz Batman. I remember the day my dad bought this for me. It was at a store in my hometown in Texas called Video Stop. It was a video rental place. And for whatever reason, they were selling these figures. And my dad knew that I liked the movie. And yeah, he bought me this figure. And somehow it has survived like 30 years.
That's awesome.
It doesn't have the original cape. It has like another cape, and it doesn't have the logo on his chest. Like, I don't know where that went, but it's not there.
It's like scratched off kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's scratched off, or if it was a sticker, it peeled off. But he does have the belt. It still works. Let's pull it out. Yep, still works. And then he has his batarang. Somehow he never lost that accessory, so he's got that.
Awesome.
And yeah, it's crazy. Like, we said at the opening of the episode, like 30 years. And, when you think about it like that, it's like, it's nuts.
Yeah, especially, I just talked about this on another podcast this week and saying that a lot of toys that I own hold a lot of memories. And, based on what you've said, I agree. It's something that you pick up any figure and you can go through and tell an entire story, and it could be like a 35-minute story. You know what I mean? Like it just depends on the figure that you're pulling out. But that's what I think means the most to me is when people always say, "Oh, well, like that collection's great. You have a great collection." I'm like, "How much time do you have? You want to pick one out, and I'll tell you where I got it." And they're like, "No, God."
Yeah, no, that's a good point, and that's a huge thing I try and tell people about collecting is like most of the pieces that I have, I can tell you like when I got it, I can tell you who gave it to me if it was a gift, and I think that's part of the reason that we can't we have a hard time letting go of things because there's especially childhood toys. It's just like so many memories. You remember when we got this, what was going on in our lives at the time, and yeah, it's part of it. I think that's part of why we do what we do.
You think so? Yeah. Which Batman do you actually have? Do you have the square jaw, the circular jaw, or the one that was redone up to look like Michael Keaton a little bit?
I'm glad you asked. I know of these variants. I don't know which one this is. He has like a long face.
Okay.
I don't think it's like the square one. It's like a longer face.
Maybe the first version, because mine, I have the round face right now. That's the one that's on my desk. So I wouldn't say that it looks like Keaton by any means.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull this up real quick. So I know there's this website, so it's like Batman YTB, and I've seen this site before, and they talk about, okay, so they do have links here to the different variants. So there's the round face. It's definitely not that one. Here's a square face. It's not that one either. What was the other one?
I guess one that is supposed to look more like Michael Keaton. So maybe you have that one. Maybe you have a fourth one that no one's ever known about.
Here, I'm going to send you the link right now so you can take a quick peek at it through Skype, and you tell me which one I have. Well, that's the picture that looks just like mine right there.
People are waiting in bated breath right now. Like, which one is it? Is it a new one? Does she have a new one?
Is it none of the above?
Let's see. Oh, that's I think that's the first one. So you got the first version.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to text you the actual figure that I have right here in front of me. But yeah, no, I have no idea. Like, it's just
that packaging, by the way, is just the best. Yeah, I think you definitely. No, you know what? I think you might have the Keaton one.
Huh. Interesting.
Because he's got the lips.
Interesting.
He's got the redone lips, so that's pretty cool.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's awesome. That's an awesome. That's an awesome Batman.
Yeah. No, it is. It's a great figure. It's pretty well articulated too, like the knees bend and everything. The only thing I can really say about it's gotten kind of sticky, like over the years. It's a little sticky.
Oh yeah. You know what? It's unfortunate. I mean, a lot of my figures, when you haven't seen them for a while and you go pick them up, you're like, oh God, like what is happening? But you just try to make them comfortable.
Yeah, I usually use like a magic. That's hilarious. I usually try and get like a magic eraser and just kind of cleaning them up. It seems to help a little bit.
Oh really? I'll have to try that out. Yeah. I usually just leave it. I'm like, I've done too many things where I try to like fix, or you know what I mean, like stuff, and I end up like making it worse. So I've learned over the years, like, just don't, just it's not my style to do anything anymore. It's just, I'll end up ruining it more than anything.
Right. One thing that, right now we're on the topic, the cape. I mentioned it's not the original cape. So
Yeah.
back then, my grandmother, was really into fabric and like making things. And anytime I lost a cape, I'd be like, Grandma, I lost the cape. And she'd like, okay, no problem. So she'd like make me like replacement capes.
Just got a giant drawer full of capes, just waiting for that moment every day. No, and talking about memories and stuff, like, that makes it extra special. You know what I mean? Like, your grandmother actually made you a cape for your Batman. Like, Toy Biz Canner, they can't do that. They could provide aspects of a Batman figure, but that just like elevates it, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what he's wearing too. It's like a replacement cape by my grandmother, and I think she did a pretty nice job with it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I know mine. I have it next to the DC Multiverse ones that just came out, and it's funny. A lot of people were saying to me, like, this figure's terrible. It looks not like they could have done such a better job, and I'm like, I don't think you really understand that this is supposed to look like the old like Toy Biz Kenner figures. You know what I mean? Like, it's supposed to be that kind of face and that body and like what he's wearing, and
right.
And people are just like, oh no, it's dumb. It's so dumb. And I'm like, oh come on.
Come on. Yeah, it's silly. But yeah, so I know we're getting into toys like right now.
No,
so,
yeah, sorry, we can go back. I know we have a ton more stuff to talk about with the movie.
yeah, but so yeah, I think we're talking about Joker. Any other characters that come to mind that you want to mention?
We gotta. I mean, we're off the subject of toys, but you gotta talk about Bob the Goon, who was just Bob. Do you know like the whole thing about who the actor is in relation to Jack Nicholson and all that?
I don't.
Okay, so apparently that Jack Nicholson, and this is one of those things where like you hear it, but it's too crazy not to be true, kind of thing. He was like, you want me to do this movie, you got to give my friend a job too. So it's like Jack Nicholson's like drinking buddy, or something like that, and they put him in the movie, and
how funny.
He got an action figure that kicks and does all that kind of stuff out of the deal.
I know, that's awesome. And it's funny too, because like very few actors like from these films actually got action figures, but Bob the Goon did.
Yeah, right. And he, to be honest, he kind of had the most accurate, because it was, Batman, you kind of have to, do what you can with Michael Keaton's just the lower half of his face. Joker, they made the Joker more comic booky, but yeah. Bob the Goon actually got a full-on original figure and a hat.
yeah, I know, it's hilarious how that works out. I think I also want to mention Alfred, obviously. So, Michael Gough, who played Alfred in all four of these original Batman films from, well, not original, but, the four from the Tim Burton and Schumacher era.
Yeah.
So there's very little continuity, especially when you jump from Batman Returns to Batman Forever. But Michael Gough and also Commissioner Gordon, Pat Hingle, are the same actors.
I like Pat Hingle. I always thought he did a great. Like, he was never really in it that much, except to be like, "Hey, it's the Riddler!" Or, "Oh my God, Two-Face is taking over," the thing. But he was a great, almost like the Adam West type style, Commissioner Gordon to that. Like, he calls you up, "Hey, go stop the criminal," and boom, you're done.
Right.
It wasn't Gary Oldman like getting in the Batmobile and blowing up the water main or whatever he did.
No, exactly. Yeah. No, he was good. And, you'd see him barking orders and, then of course, I'm kind of hesitant to even mention, Batman and Robin, but when like, he's like falling in love with Poison Ivy, it's like, it's a little too far. A little too far.
Oh, the cringe in that movie, but it's so good. It's like, I think when you see certain aspects of that movie to this day, you're just like, all right, I'm down. Let's just sit here and we're gonna watch this because it's just so bad.
Yeah, it is,
It's
but it allowed for some good toys.
yeah, right. They like did the onslaught of toys for that movie. I remember Walmarts and Targets just being overrun with those things.
The promotion. I remember there was cereal, I think, and Pop-Tart. The Pop-Tarts is the one I remember the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like the fourth time was a charm where they're like, you know what? Let's just like market the heck out of this thing. Like let's make it a giant toy ad. And that's basically what they did.
Yeah. This was kind of like the time when like laser pointers are becoming kind of popular. And I remember seeing Batman and Robin in the theater with my siblings and dad, and somebody in the theater kept shining like a laser pointer at the screen. It was so annoying.
Oh my God. Yeah. I remember being in a theater and someone doing that, and just, I think they ended up getting tossed out or somebody like beat them up or something like that. But yeah, you deserve that. If you were the guy that brought the laser pointer and was like constantly shining it on the people's faces in the movie, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna murder you.
That's
You're done.
Terrible. Bad etiquette. That's even worse than a cell phone, probably.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, and there's nothing worse than someone like ignoring their cell phone in a movie, which I have seen a lot for some. Like people are just like, "Oh, it must be your phone." I'm like, "No, it's literally your phone." Like you might as well have a laser pointer at that point.
That's really annoying too. Like you'll see people just whip out their phones and the screen shining like bright. It's like, come on.
Yeah, I'm like, shut it off for like it's only 2-hour movie. Shut it off for 2 hours. Come on.
It's like, well, can't wait for a couple hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you know what? I think that this might be my favorite Alfred in all the Batman live action films.
I think so. Mike, what's his name? Mike Cocaine.
Oh yeah, Michael Caine's awesome.
Yeah, he's great. What's the recent one was I forget. Jeremy Irons.
Yes.
A little bit too serious for Alfred, I think. Alfred needs to be like exactly how Gal portrayed it. You know what I mean? Like the very warm, fatherly type figure, but he knows his role as butler, and he knows that he can scold Batman, and that's that's a perfect Alfred. Like he doesn't get too involved until like it's just a mess.
No, that's true. And he was just like a perfect Alfred, like from the ground up, and everything about him, and just comes across as a very warm, like grandfatherly type, and really great. And I always remember like when I would watch this VHS, like they had that Diet Coke commercial at the beginning.
Oh really? Which one is that?
So I gotta take a moment here so I can send this to you, because you really got to see this.
Okay, this is like when you told me about Vin Diesel and the Street Sharks commercial.
Oh yeah.
Or the toy fair thing. My God.
Yeah, this is good too. This was at the beginning of the Batman VHS. So like if you watched it, obviously when you're watching a VHS, you don't skip things like you do on DVDs, Blu-rays.
Yeah.
So you kind of had to. I'll send it to you through Skype. You kind of had to watch it unless you fast forwarded it, which would take a long time too. Yeah, so this was just a commercial.
I just always remember he's like, can I persuade you to take a sandwich with you, sir?
I'll get drive-through.
Yeah, and that's every time I think I post something about like more Michael Keaton, Joel Schumacher kind of Batmans, I always reference that, because
That's
then
funny.
you could go to McDonald's and get the superhero hamburger, which was like 4 patties. It was ridiculous,
Man. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds so you can take a look at this. It's pretty short.
Okay. I don't know why it's not loading. Come on now. Oh, there we go.
Hello. Gotham Corner Store? Yes, we seem to be down to our last Diet Coke. A gentleman is on his way to pick some up. Just look for a black car. No, this black car will be rather difficult to miss. And by the way, the gentleman is usually in quite a rush. Just for the taste of it, Diet Coke.
Oh my God, the Diet Coke can has a cape at the end. That's like the best part.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Really?
Yeah. If I have, I can't tell you that I wear. That was like the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's so good.
It's like, now I want a Diet Coke. No, I want a regular Coke. Just kidding. But yeah, that's a freaking great 80s commercial. My God.
It is. And I love the whole thing of it. Like, just the way he's like telling, oh, the gentleman's always in a rush, and he's in a black car, you're not going to miss it.
Well, who is he talking to though? That's the weird part. Like, is he? He's like fully given away. He's like, oh yeah, like Bruce Wayne's Batman. It's like, what the heck, dude?
So I think at the beginning of the commercial, he says, "Hello, Gotham Corner Store. We're out of Diet Coke."
Okay.
So yeah, so Batman's going to go replenish their stock of Diet Coke from the corner store.
Got it. So they're like, oh, thanks, Alfred Pennyworth. We know that you're the butler of Bruce Wayne, and you just sent Batman here. So
yep.
We're gonna tell the Joker and the Riddler now. So
yeah. So no, it's a fun commercial, and I love the cape on the can. It's a great looking cape.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, that's like I just love how they were like, how do we make it more Batman? Just give the can a cape, and they're like, oh my God, yeah, that's it.
That's it. But yeah, no, this is at the beginning of the VHS. I don't know if it was on TV. Like, I assume it aired some other way as well. But yeah, this was when you would pop in that tape. You would always see this before the movie, and
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Should have been like a Super Bowl commercial right there.
Oh, I know, right?
Dang. Thank you for sending me that. That's hilarious. I love that.
Yeah, of course. It's happy to share that if you hadn't seen it.
See, every time we do this, you always send me something new I've never seen. And then, like, last night, the thing with the Vin Diesel in the street, like, oh my, that is one of the best. If I ever get to meet Vin Diesel, I'm just going to ask him about that. And just be like, do you have street sharks? Like, I have 8 questions for you, and they're all pretty much the same.
Yeah, that was great. Like, he's like totally into it too, like with the street sharks. Yeah,
I feel like he was just outside, and they were like, "Hey, dude with the muscles, like, you want to make like $15?" And he was like, "Oh yeah," That's what he seems like, and it's just like it's the best ad to like for a kid. If a kid saw that, I would be like, "Oh my God, like I want these sharks like that." That is awesome. Like, they can really mess people up.
Yeah, I know. He does a great job selling it to you. Like, oh yeah, I mean, these sharks have muscles. Like, look what they can do. They beat up these other sharks. And it's like, yeah, I'm in.
I want to show you something up close and personal. I got something here with such fantastic detail, it's going to blow you away. Head shark! Good choice! Rocky Balboa action. You
know what's funny? Because I went to Toy Fair. This is my first year this past February. And I got to go to a lot of those types of like unveilings and showrooms unveilings. No one did a Vin Diesel presentation like that. They were just like, yeah, here's the Ninja Turtles. We're going to have these coming out next year or something like that. And I'm like, can we play with them? I actually asked one lady, I was like, can we like play with them and stuff? And like these business guys were like, oh, like playing with toys? That's weird. No,
How funny.
Yeah. Toy Fair was blast, but no Vin Diesel presentation, so I'm disappointed.
Yeah, that is, well, if you ever get to meet him, definitely ask him, what happened with the street sharks, man? Do you still have them?
He's going to be like, I told you guys, no questions about the street sharks. We got to go fast here. You know what's funny? I was showing my my little one the other day, Street Sharks. This was probably about a good 3 weeks ago. And I was like, are you enjoying this? And they're like, yeah, this is good. I'm like, oh, because it's terrible. Like, I can't watch this anymore. Funny. Like, they're digging in the concrete. I'm like, that's not feasible. Come on.
Right. Yeah, that kind of reminds me, like, in the last couple of years, I think I tried to watch an episode. You remember Dinosaurs, right? From like the early 90s?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, I tried watching an episode of it and I was like, all right, I don't think I need to continue.
Yeah, I just remember, do you remember the McDonald's toys for that? Remember we were talking about Batman? I just remember not the mama and then did you, I didn't know this until, again, years later, like how that series ended. Like they all freeze to death.
Yeah, it was on the news and everything, like, oh yeah, climate change. And
I know. I was like, oh my God, that's like depressing. Like all the puppets are dead.
yeah,
Like, even the baby.
even the baby, sadly. Yeah, that's funny. But Pee-wee's Playhouse too is another one. I loved that as a kid. I tried watching, like, it's on Netflix. I tried watching an episode about a year ago, and I was like, why in the world did I ever think this was entertaining?
I'm gonna be honest, and a lot of people are gonna be like, oh my God, like we're done. But I was never a big fan of Pee-wee anything.
That's funny.
I know that Tim Burton made his movie and all that stuff, but that's just, I never got it. It probably was terrifying to me. The couch would talk. Why would you think that's appealing? But
Everything talked.
oh God, I know. It was horrifying. And then Pee-wee himself was scary,
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's totally true. And apparently, I don't remember this too well, but apparently I loved that first Pee-wee's Big Adventure movie when I was like really little, because my parents say that I wore out the tape.
Oh, really? That's when like you ran it. Like I have had tapes like that where it's just you played that thing a million times and you had to rewind it. It wasn't like today where you just like, oh, hit the back button. Right. It's like, no, you had to take like 2-3 minutes to really rewind the tape. Yeah. And I remember my dad bought a separate outside rewinder because he was worried the VHS was going to break. So he's like, no, every time you want to rewind a tape, you take it out, you put it in this separate rewinder, and then rewind the tape. And I was like, okay. So
that was this. I think it was called like the Speedwinder or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. That's just the amount of useless things we used to have back in the day.
Yeah. Well, we had to rewind the tape somehow, so.
Yeah, I'm sure we rewound Batman a good couple times.
Oh yeah. But what's funny too about Pee-wee's Playhouse is all the there was a lot of like well-known, like now they're well-known actors like Jimmy Smits and Lawrence Fishburne and like all kinds of people that were in that.
Yeah. I can't believe Lawrence Fishburne. That always cracked me up.
He was the cowboy, wasn't he?
Yeah, what's his name?
Cowboy Curtis.
Cowboy. Yeah.
Yeah, he had like a mullet and cowboy hat.
Of course. I mean, why not? Well, Lawrence Fishburne, I could totally see him as that. See, that's what I mean. Like, I know, like, and there's certain things when people actually stump me, like for instance, Pee-wee's Playhouse, I'm like, I vaguely know about it. Like, I probably know more than I should. Not ever watched it, but maybe I should give it I'll give it another shot one of these days.
Nice. So anyway, back to Batman.
Yes. That was what we were talking about. Pee-wee was in Batman's Returns if you wanted to link it with that too. So.
I was thinking that. Yeah, that's funny. So yeah, we're talking about the actors. So okay, we talked about like several of the more prominent characters. You mentioned Billy D. Williams, who's totally Billy D. Williams in this movie.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
he just didn't have a cape. If he had a cape, he would have been full on Lando in that.
Right. Well, he had that scarf, didn't he? That like was just draping over his shoulders.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Dang it, he did.
He did. He was totally Billy D. Williams. We talked a little bit about Kim Basinger. Obviously had a very big role in this film.
Yeah. That's right around when she started to get popular, right?
Yeah, probably.
Like maybe was a little bit more established and then did this.
Yeah, seems like it. Seems like it around that era.
Does she still act anymore? I don't even know.
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I haven't seen her in anything in a while, as far as I can recall.
I know. I always think about L.A. Confidential when I think about her.
Yeah, that was a while back too.
She was a good actress. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like her. I noticed that her hairstyle like jumps around a lot too in this movie.
Oh, really? Yeah, because she had like the more like curly kind of hair. Is that? And it would like just showed up different each time.
Yeah, like it was like styled different, and it just looked very different each time. Like each scene, like her hair was like totally different. It was weird.
That's kind of cool. I gotta go back and watch that now. It's kind of like when you watch, totally off topic again, but like Disney's Belle, like Beauty and the Beast, like how off model her face is when you
Oh, yeah.
really pay attention to that movie. So
That's funny.
yeah,
And I always remember too, like when Joker, like he's taking her up the cathedral and he kisses the shoe and then he just like drops it like 100 floors.
yeah. That was a good effect. Every time they like look down, and also like who builds a giant like tower like that? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's just a bunch of wooden planks
Yeah.
shoved into a door or on the side of the thing. But they had a good feeling of depth in that. However,
Yeah.
they did the miniatures and things with that. So
It did. And the fight scene too at the end, was pretty fun. You have all the thugs that are coming after Batman. They're all armed differently. Like some of them have the knives and,
yeah,
all out fight. And Batman does weird things like, grab guys between his legs and slam them against, the bell. And
yeah, but that's like a true like comic book like Batman fight is just a bunch of like whatever like they could be faceless for all you care in the movie. You just want to see Batman just beat a bunch of people up and take them down. Like I could show up with like a ninja suit on and be like, all right, I buy it. Joker would have a ninja kind of guy doing stuff.
yeah, it seems like that move specifically seems like a very wrestling type move.
Yeah, but he just like totally just annihilate. He probably killed that guy too, knowing Batman in these movies.
Yeah. Well, he fell, didn't he, after he hit his head on the bell?
I think yeah, and he didn't even save him.
Nope. And then the other guy that jumps behind him and falls right through the floor.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
And Batman just kind of was like, okay, like that works.
Less work for me.
Yeah, that's just like that's a excellent fight. I love when the Joker's whole plan, let's say, is to like mix these various chemicals, or when you mix the various chemicals, like the idea that he somehow perpetrated that is completely wild to me. But I always liked when he took those models and put the mouths over and it's like, make mine like Joker, you know what I mean? I always thought that was creepy.
Yeah,
so
it's very creepy. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then the newscaster starts laughing uncontrollably, and yeah, that's a good joke, especially from like the very first type of comics. Like you just burst into laughing and you end up dying, or you break your blood vessels or constricts, whatever the Joker venom does. It's like horrifying. Like when they really explained it in the comics, I was like, oh my god, I didn't even think about that. It's just like.
No, that's true. And then everybody's afraid to use the cosmetics, so you start seeing the news anchors like just looking like hell.
Yeah, that was funny. But of course, Batman deduces which chemicals do what. And,
right, because he's Batman.
Yep, that's exactly right. It's like, yep, that's how do you do it? I don't know. He's Batman.
So, okay, so we talked about things that we enjoy about the film. The Batmobile. We got to mention the Batmobile real quick.
That pretty much, like where that Batmobile comes from. That's an iconic Batmobile.
It is. I think it's still probably the nicest one overall.
I agree. It was the first two movies had it until it turned into like a missile at the end of the second one. But the Batman Forever and Batman and Robin didn't come close. It got too weird with the Joel Schumacher ones, and then even into Batman Begins with the Tumbler. It just wasn't that's it. It's Batman without going too crazy. I mean, you would think like, yeah, this dude would drive that.
Right. Yeah, totally. So are there any other things that you want to mention about Batman that you really like?
I like the aspects. I think what worked best was Joker versus the mob, takes the mob, like does what he does within that whole ranks thing. And then the mirror scene, I think, was a great thing. A lot of parodies from that particular scene, but just like, give me the mirror, and then he just sees it for the first time and starts laughing, and it's like, all right, let's do this. This is going good.
Yeah, it's like, what did he expect? He goes to this really like dingy looking place that has like trash all over the floor. It's like, what did you want this guy to do for you?
Exactly. Help me out. Like, I guess it's something I really haven't thought about. Like, so basically, he goes like when before he gets thrown to the acid, he gets like ricocheted shot in the face, right? Isn't that
Yes.
what happens? And he goes to the doctor to kind of fix him up, but is that how he got the smile? Because it like messed with his nerves? Is that what they were going for?
I've never thought about it that way. I always kind of thought that it was like the falling into the vat that kind of did that, like somehow. I kind of just left it at that it was just like a bullet that hit him in the face. But that's actually quite possible because I'm trying to remember. The surgeon tells him something about that the accident like severed his nerves. What accident though? Was it when he fell in the vat or was it the bullet?
Yeah.
Because when Batman's like holding his hand and he's about to fall, I don't think he's smiling. He doesn't have the smile at that point.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's if it is, well, I mean, it kind of goes either way. You can say it attributes to that or that, but I like that they just kind of threw that in there. Just as like a nod, like maybe that's what happened or this happened. It could go either way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. And then Batman flies away like with the smoke and like who is this guy?
Yeah.
And they actually repeated that line in the Batman Begins. I thought that was funny.
Oh, that's right. It's funny, like they didn't take with Batman Begins. I think they tried to stay away from all that, but there's like you said, there's simple nods. You know what I mean, like little things here and there where you're like, yeah, okay, I see what you're doing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, that was a sexy Batmobile, and I don't think they've topped it since then. It's like perfect.
Yeah, it really was. It was just like, it wasn't huge. It wasn't like too menacing. It was just like a really sleek car. Yeah,
with a jet engine.
Exactly, right. And the fins. That's Batman's car. You just look at it, you're like, it's Batmobile.
And then it had that shield mode to it also.
Yeah, right. Like the most like stop motion kind of thing of putting all that in. Like it totally takes you out of the film. But again, that's kind of like the timeless fun of these types of movies. So it's employing all of Tim Burton's tricks, with that whole thing.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. That is absolutely true. And then they repeated that same effect, I think, on Batman Returns, and it looked exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah, a little reuse, never hurts anybody. We know that within the toy industry.
Right. So, okay, as far as things that we don't love about this film, things that are maybe not quite up to par, is there anything on your list of things that you're not really down with for this movie?
Honestly, I think like his death aside, like it completes the story. So I can't be too upset with that, but I think it's the whole idea that the Joker killed Bruce Wayne's parents and they're linked, but all this like coincidence has led them back together. I get it from like you want to tell a different type of story, but that has always bugged me. I don't like it. That's one thing I don't like.
Yeah, that's it's interesting. I mean, I don't mind it too much myself, but yeah, I mean, I can see how there's a lot of coincidence and things going on that kind of bring them back together.
Yeah, but again, like, if you're doing if it never had sequels or anything else like that, then it's a standalone Batman movie, and I think it works. But as soon as you start implementing sequels and stuff, that's when I think it's like, it could be an Elseworlds story or something to that degree. So it works, but if I really had to have any problem with it, I think that's the main one. Yeah.
Right on. So the two issues I have are basically nitpicks, and they're things that happen like right next to each other. So the first one is, towards the end of the film when Batman's flying in the Batplane and he targets Joker like on his scanner, and then he starts shooting at him. Million bullets. None of them hit the Joker at all.
Yeah. That's Wayne Enterprises weapon system. They don't actually hit you. They just have the illusion because Batman doesn't kill. No.
That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. Every single bullet misses the Joker, and then I think the only thing that bothers me a little bit more than that is that Joker pulls out this long gun and then he just shoots one shot, and that brings down the Batplane. Yeah, right.
That was a good Joker gag, but yeah, you're right. It's like, okay. And Batman ends up getting hit by this one bullet
Yep.
in a speeding jet plane, you know?
Yep. And it brings it down. It's like,
Totally.
Okay.
It doesn't even bring it down. He crashes into a church, right? Like,
Yeah.
isn't that, like, he shouldn't be walking away from that. That was just like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No. He crashes into the steps of the church, and then like, I guess they think he's dead, and then but no, he comes out and he's like limping. He's like, but then when he gets to the top of the church after climbing a million sets of stairs, he's like fine again.
Yeah. No, he had to walk it off. He's Batman. He's like, oh, I'm good. This is my exercise. 1,000,000 steps.
Yeah, which when you think of all the utilities he had with him, it's like, why didn't you use like the grapnel gun to get up there quicker?
Yeah, you would think. He just a lot of holes in this. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, like I said, these are just minor nitpicks that, I mean, as a kid, I kind of noticed them, but I think they bother me more now than they did then.
Yeah.
But on the whole, I still highly enjoyed this film, and, there's all the nostalgia behind it, which is part of that, but, I really appreciate it as a Batman film because I think it is pretty timeless and it holds up very well even 30 years later.
I think so too. And, like what you just said and what we talked about at the very beginning is that it's almost like a fantasy movie, and not one that you're seeing a lot of modern day or a lot of real world type stuff. It's very much like, not I wouldn't say science fiction, but a very fictional world, but it's a living, breathing kind of fictional world, and you buy it. You buy the Gotham City's terrible, and this Joker guy would come out of this whole situation. And there's a Batman, and
right.
And when you have the Christopher Nolan movies, you see too much of the real world in it, and that's what I think not cheapens the fun, but lessens it in terms of like you have certain rules now. Whereas, Joker could just pull this giant gun out of his pants and you buy it. Like, oh, this dude's been walking around with this in his pants like this whole time, whereas, with Heath Ledger, you'd be like, you wouldn't buy it as much. You know what I mean? You'd be like, that's weird. That's weird. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, I mean, other than that, I don't really have a whole lot to add as far as the film discussion goes, other than, like I said, I think its legacy, it holds up well. It's still highly entertaining to watch. And I kind of feel like when it comes down to it, like I'm almost drawn more to like, just if I want to have something on that's Batman related, I'm kind of more inclined to put one of these films on than one of the more recent ones.
I agree. Yeah. And I think that goes hand in hand with like just not having to think too much about it. And also it's a classic type of movie. It's a fantasy movie. It's like all those old, movies that we grew up with where it's weird and it's different. It wasn't for kids, but for whatever reason it resonated with us, and it's fun. It's a fun movie.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that we're anxious to get into toy talk, so
no. We can leave that. We'll talk about that another time. Sorry, everyone.
But yeah, so I know we talked a little bit about this toy line previously in a different episode, but the way that it worked out was Toy Biz, where your username comes from.
Yes.
Yeah, Toy Biz had the Batman line.
They weren't using it anymore, so no.
So they produced the very first toys that were made to coincide with this film, but pretty quickly thereafter, Kenner took over the license and started making even more toys.
Yeah, isn't that funny how that works out? So like Kenner had the Superpowers line and all that, lost the license, goes to Toy Biz, and then Kenner gets it back. Lickety split. So
yeah.
But to its I guess credit, like Toy Biz was relatively new, and once they kind of got like the Marvel stuff, I think that's where they like really started to cut their teeth and know what toy. You know what I mean? I think they overshot it a little bit. I mean, they only had 3 figures. They had the Batmobile, the Bat plane, Bat motorcycle.
Yes.
And the playset. I think they had the playset. But I don't think it was enough. For kids didn't. What do you do with 3 figures? I guess Right.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Here, do you still have that first link that I sent you with the from that Batman
Yeah.
YTV? Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's actually a really good, like, they have an archive of all, like, the old figures there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you just click on, like,
Batman Toy Biz.
yeah, Batman Toy Biz, then it'll have, like, figures and vehicles and play sets and stuff. So
There we go.
yeah, so I just want to take a quick look here at some of the figures that were available in this line. So it does look like there were multiple Batman faces. So it does list the Keaton face, the round face, and the square face, like you noted earlier.
Mm-hmm.
There's Bob the Goon, and then there's two Jokers. So I didn't even know about this till right now, but it says that there's a Joker, and then it says that there is a Joker with no curl, and I assume that refers to his hair.
I believe so, and I think that the pants were different. I should have done our research, I guess, before people are sitting there at home going like, "What are we even listening to?" But no, I want to say where are the images not pumping up? Yeah, so I mean, and when you have like variants and stuff, I mean, it's still the Joker. It's still the same thing, and even with 3 Michael Keaton Batmans, all in different face stages of development. Yeah, I mean, you're basically just playing with Batman, and that could, what do you do with that? You know what I mean? You got to have the Joker, and you got to have a base or a Joker's lair or something like that. Something. So.
And I love the card art on this one. Like, it just shows him like creeping along with the orchid, like blowing out like something.
Oh yeah, no, that they did an excellent job of like kind of combining that with the comics, and I think that really shows. It's a beautifully illustrated Joker. It's almost like they used to have a lot of great Joker arts for like even the video games, like what the NES game and everything else. Yeah, they nailed it.
Yeah, no, it looks really cool. And so this Joker, it seems like you would fill it with water, right? And then it would shoot the water out of his orchid.
Yes, exactly. A lot of Joker figures always have some sort of like squirted, acid or something like that. So, it was like the first of its kind to say that the Joker would, do something like that, but Kenner certainly took that off and did it for Batman Returns and did for Penguin stuff, and then Batman the Animated Series Joker had the laughing gas squirting thing, and
yeah, that's true. So we talked a little bit about Bob the Goon, and the packaging says Bob the Joker's Goon. So this guy has, and I think they wore these in the film, right? Like they had these jackets that had like the Joker logo on them.
Yes, yeah. Which of course they had those monogrammed and made up. I mean.
Right.
Why not?
So he had a power kick. It says button activated power kick. And I don't, I only had Batman, so I'm not too familiar with these features.
My Bob the Goon, his leg doesn't go back anymore. He's in a permanent kick mode, which is fun. But yeah, it's. I always remember, and I remember seeing these on the shelves. I want to say it was probably KB Toys, and it wasn't a lot of options. You know what I mean? Like, especially when Batman Returns came out, that's when they finally had so many different actions. I mean, they had penguins with rocket launcher backpacks and everything else. So this was like, okay, now that I have Batman, I got the Goon and Joker. And these are probably $3.99, $4.99 back in the day.
Right.
There's really not much else to do. So, but the Joker did have a van, and that's actually interesting to give the Joker a van. But the vehicles were nice. I mean, the Batmobile, we all know the problem with that. It had like open canopy, but it was an interesting first kind of line to really focus on Batman. I think it wasn't perfect, but it was still like the ground level stuff, and it was fun. It was fun.
No, that's true. Now I did have this Batmobile, but I think it came from a flea market or something, because I know that I didn't have it. Like, I know that I didn't get it as a gift. I think it came from somewhere like a year or two later. And that always bothered me, how it did have like the open canopy, was a convertible with, it just didn't make sense.
Yeah. No, it I mean, you like to think that Batman is encapsulated, he's protected and stuff, and he's just like kind of driving around like with the top down kind of thing, and he can take all kinds of damage. So even as kids, see, that's what I mean. Like we as kids, like we understood this. Like it's weird, And I think that a lot of times, kids these days, they get it, but they're being told otherwise. Like, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like, whereas like we were like, no, there's something wrong.
Yeah,
there's something wrong with this.
Yeah, I remember liking that this one did have like a trunk that had like space in it. And it also had like the little missile launchers at the front that were very well, like they were very seamless. You didn't see them until you pressed like one of the buttons inside the car. Yeah,
they did. I agree. And I always liked, you never really knew it was the Batmobile until you saw the side of the car with the giant Batman logo, yellow Batman logo on the side of the car. Oh, and the Bat tires, too.
Oh, yeah, the tires. So there was also the Batwing. Now, this one I did get Christmas morning one day. I think it was, I want to say, it had to have been 89, because that's when this toy line was out. So I remember getting this on Christmas morning and being really excited about it, because, the art on the box is actually really fun. It shows, like, Batman piloting the plane, and he's got Joker, like, picked up at the, I don't know, forceps or...
Pincers, yeah.
Yeah, the pincers. This was really exciting, but I remember that the wings on this thing would fall off pretty easily.
Yes, I do remember that too. They were janky, for lack of a better word. And if I remember correctly, the pincer thing didn't work too well either.
Right,
something like
that.
Didn't.
And it was kind of hard to press, as I recall.
Yeah, wasn't it like a trigger thing or like a handheld trigger or something I forget.
Yeah, which made it easier for flying it around, but and then it had like the little suction cup like missiles that you could fire.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And I think if I recall, you would pull like a little button on the back of the plane, like for both of them, and then you would press something else and it would shoot them out.
Oh, okay.
So it had to have been like spring loaded or something.
It's funny you said like you got yours at a swap meet, because that's like when I was growing up, that was like 90% of my toys came from garage sales and swap meets and stuff. So they were always missing some pieces, you know what I mean, all that kind of stuff. But
right,
yeah, I did have the two wings, but I don't think I ever had the missiles. Now that I think about it, I think that must have been what I was missing on my Batman plane.
Yeah, and I think I lost them at some point or another, but yeah, I'm just looking at the back of the box here. It says "Made in USA," parts imported from China, box printed in Canada.
Interesting.
It's really interesting.
I wonder if that's Toy Biz starting out and thinking, "Oh, I'll do it here" or something like that.
Could have been. So there's also a Bat Cave. I never had this, so I don't remember it or anything. But it's basically just a little Bat Cave playset.
You know what's funny? I see this every once in a while at conventions and stuff. I had the Batman Returns one with like the breakaway windows at the top and like the penguin freezy thing on the back of the the whole fold out. But no, I never had this playset.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's colorful.
Yeah, right. It kind of is like a little bit Adam West-ish, I want to say.
Yeah, no, totally.
Which probably, I want to say, I bet you, like, these toy designers back in the day were probably like, well, we have to make this appealing to kids. Like, this Tim Burton movie is, like, really dark and depressing. You know what I mean? Like, we got to give some fun or some color to it. Oh, do the Adam West, bring out some color in it.
Right. Yeah. So, okay. So let's get into the Dark Knight collection. This is when Kenner started producing the toys. And what do you think about the difference in quality between what Toy Biz was doing and then what Kenner was doing?
You could, right off the bat, you could definitely see, the change. And then I guess the more, and this has been said to death, but the more like toyetic aspect of these toys, you can see this one's spring loaded and this one you can dress, Bruce Wayne up as Batman. And it just had more oomph to it that you could actually do something with as a kid. And I think they capitalized on the fun of that. I think that's when, they actually made these toys appealing, especially with different outfits and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think this might have been the first time that they really did that thing where, you could get Batman in his traditional outfit, or you could get him in a multitude of different colors as well.
Right, yeah. Well, I remember even as a kid, I was like, well, I don't want the camouflage Batman. You know what I mean? Like you want Batman in the
exactly.
But then when you wanted a new Batman figure, where you're like, hey, I know we're here. I guess I could get the Arctic Freeze Batman. You know what I mean? Like it worked. You had your fun with it, and then, but you always really just wanted, Batman in the classic kind of suit. So
yeah, that always made the most sense.
Yeah,
because Batman's not going to go around fighting crime in a purple costume. It's just, why would he do that?
Yeah, exactly. No.
So, I'm trying to remember if I had any of these back then, because it looks like this line might have come out like 1990, like the year after the movie came out.
I'm pretty sure it was right around then.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know that I had any of these figures at that time. I know that they repackaged quite a few of them into the Batman Returns line. And that's when I got like most of them. That's when I got a bunch of the figures. But when it was actually the Dark Knight collection, as the series was called, I don't know that I had any of these. I mean, I feel like I know that I had a couple of them, but what I don't remember is if it was this line or if it was Batman Returns.
I want to say that, I'll be honest, I think that when Kenner took over this particular line, it wasn't until Batman Returns where I actually got into it. Now, I do remember having certain aspects that kind of then fell into the Batman Returns, but like when you could transform into Bruce Wayne, I had that figure, but I had it when they re-released it during Batman Returns. So it's kind of funny. I wonder if it's like, thinking back and thinking like, okay, did we just full on miss these, or were these not like properly released? But
right,
it's a weird conundrum, because I distinctly remember like Batman Returns is when I was like, okay, like now that I got to go see the movie, now I want the toys.
Yeah, no, totally. So I know that they repackaged this Crime Attack Batman in Batman Returns, as I did have that one. And this was kind of like your very basic Batman. So he's in his black costume, and he's got that launcher. It says, uses his battering and claw to stop dangerous criminals. So it was basically like a little launcher you could clip onto his forearm, and then you could put these two missiles in there and then launch them. Mm-hmm. That was a good toy.
I like that one. And it bummed me out. I mean, you can't go wrong with the whole like the belt that turns into the the repelling system and everything. But yeah, like this is again when they started having like all these like snap-on features that shot missiles back when springs were a thing, with the missile firing. Not you had to push it like you do nowadays. But yeah, it worked. It was fun, and nothing's better than getting like a bunch of armor or something like that to like strap onto a figure. And yeah, they nailed it with this particular line.
Yeah, definitely. So there's quite a few different variations of Batman. You have a Bruce Wayne that has the Batman costume that you can put on him. It doesn't look that great once you do it.
No,
but you can. They have like Batman in the Adam West or comic book like colors. So he's got like the blue cape and the gray suit.
See, that's one that like knowing that Batman has like various costumes in that sense, that's definitely one that I had too, because I was like, oh, I like, it's a blue Batman, or that's the more grays with the blue instead of the black. And that I always gravitated more towards those variants when I was a kid.
Yeah, of course. There's also Shadowing Batman. So this is also another Batman in the black suit, and basically he pops his arms out to his side, and like his cape is like clasped onto his wrist, so it looks like he's like opening his cape up.
Yeah, that was a good one, and that's straight from the movie too, which is awesome.
It is. I never had that figure though, but
I had I had like a deluxe one. I remember that. It's probably going to be Batman Returns.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about, and I have that. I had that one too. Yeah, it had like a little thing you would clip on him, like that made sounds. I think.
Yes, exactly. But this, like, in saying, if for the very first Toy Biz line, if you're going to make, there's 3 different Batmans, they're all different heads. Like, how come they didn't do this You know what I mean? A Batman that has like his wings pull out. You know what I mean? It was just all very much one and done. One note. Maybe they couldn't, get it out, or maybe they couldn't do what they wanted to do at the time.
Yeah, that's true.
But that would have been ideal.
So there's also Tech Shield Batman, who has a gold suit. There is this one is called page not found. Wall Scaler Batman.
Oh yeah.
And that one had like, it looks kind of like a more metallic-y, like silver suit, I think.
Yeah. I love how the tech shield, like, he's just like, we're gonna go gold suit. Like, I just make myself a gold suit today.
Yeah,
that's too funny.
And there's like 2 of them, so I don't know if it looks like maybe was there a variant or something, because it shows 2 of them in this archive. Oh, okay. So one has a black pull, the other one has a gold pull.
Oh, okay. So it's like a running change kind of thing.
Yeah. And then so a Joker figure was available. Now, this, I never had this, but it has a really cool looking feature. So it says that you dip his head in water and his face changes color to make it look like he's not wearing the makeup.
Yeah, and that a friend of mine, I used to go over his house to play. He had that figure, and I remember doing that. You know what I mean? And we were both like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, why? So you're going from like human Joker to like Joker,
right?
And I get it. I get what they're, trying to do, but it wasn't. Maybe something more along with the smile. Maybe they should have brought that. You know what I mean? Like, his smile disappears, and then when he's like, cold or something like that, then that, because it just seems kind of like, okay, it applies in the movie, but yeah.
Yeah, he looks kind of like an Oompa Loompa or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you notice that this one has like, it looks like that Princess Leia blaster?
Though the long gun,
yeah,
that's supposed to. You know what? It's funny you mentioned that. It does.
That's weird.
Maybe that's the wrong gun for the figure now.
Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe it was like based off like an actual gun, and this is kind of supposed to be that. I don't know.
It's funny, like, in looking at these photos now, and then knowing what Mattel recently released with the Toy Biz Kenner tribute Joker, and then they also did Batman missions like Joker Copter, which, if you don't have that, it's like a Walmart exclusive thing. It comes with like a Joker. Just get rid of that Joker and put the multiverse Joker in, and it's almost that copter. Like, it's so reminiscent. I'll send you a photo if you haven't seen it.
Yeah,
but
I think you showed it to me, but I haven't found it yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it is. It's like bringing back the old toys, but like repurposing. It was great.
That's really cool. So this one also has like a little copter thing. It says use whirling copter pack to escape from trouble. So that's, fun. That's the kind of accessories toys used to come with.
Yeah.
And then the card art, that actually does look like Jack Nicholson.
Especially, I'm looking at the Joker, the knockout one. That's I would say that's Nicholson for sure. Yeah, that's probably like the one likeness that it's an illustration, but
right.
It works.
Certainly gets the job done. It looks like there was another wave where a couple more figures were done. So there was like Power Wing Batman and Thunder Whip Batman.
Oh yeah. He's always cracking that whip, that Batman.
I think I had the Thunder Whip Batman when it was done in Batman Returns, and it was the same figure, except the accessories, instead of being gold like they are here, they were purple.
I think you're right on that. I'm gonna have to look into that, because I know those accessories. You know what I mean? Like, when you're going through a bin of accessories, if you're like, oh my god, I know what figure this goes. Like, how do I know that this goes to this figure? But yeah, I think you're right. Definitely a lot of repurposing.
Yeah, that was a fun toy though. It had like a couple of knobs on his back, or one knob, and you would spin it, and then his wrist would spin as well.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Other than that, let's see here. So there were some deluxe figures. I think we touched on them. There was like Night Glider Batman, Claw Climber Batman, and Blast Shield Batman.
Mm-hmm.
There was also an exclusive pack. It says Batman versus the Joker, and it has both of the figures, though. This actually looks pretty cool. Like, the Batman has like a more matte looking costume, and the Joker he's wearing a really colorful, weird costume. He's got like an orange jacket, yellow pants, pink gloves.
Huh. Oh, that's more like, that's like, I think that's like the Knockout Joker or something. So it's like okay, I'm looking at it right now. That is cool. That's probably like a Walmart exclusive or something.
Something like that, yeah. And then he's got his gun says "Pow."
That's cool. See, there's certain cliched accessories that come with, toys and character figures and everything else, but the Joker always has to have that gun with the fake bullet thing popping out of a gun. That's just that's classic. That's classic Joker.
Totally. So let's talk a little bit about the vehicles. So it looks like this line was pretty well rounded out with vehicles.
Yeah.
Obviously we want to start with the Batmobile. Compared to what Toy Biz did, this is a much more film accurate looking Batmobile.
Yeah, I agree. And I had this one, and it's an awesome Batmobile, especially down to like the exhaust, in the back and everything. They nailed it in terms of giving you exactly what you want from a movie, and not just kind of like taking certain liberties with it.
Mm-hmm. I never had this one. It was always like a grail. Like, it was something I always really wanted. Never got it for whatever reason until maybe like 2 years ago on eBay. Somebody they were selling the Batman Returns version. It was basically the same thing, just repackaged. Yeah. And I remember getting I don't remember the exact price I paid, but it was like brand new in the box, and I got like a really good deal on it. And I was finally able to add it to the collection.
Awesome. That's always like a lot of fun when you want something and you finally find that good deal. You know what I mean? You're just like, oh,
yeah,
finally.
And it was brand new in the box, which, something that I always think is really cool. Of course I opened it up, and I never assembled it. It's back in its box, but I did open it to like inspect it and make sure everything was there, and it was. But yeah, one of these days I'll get around to getting it set up and put it on the shelf.
The one, like, besides the Batmobile, the one that I really liked from this was the Batjet with it had these like spring-loaded wings that would like pop out to the side, but then it was a very futuristic looking kind of vehicle, but it was awesome. And it had a missile that shot out of the front, and he had like this retractable kind of, or not retractable, but it like kind of opened up like a canopy kind of thing, but you could still see Batman through like the window glass kind of thing. So that was a lot of, I just remember pushing the button. You'd kind of push the wings in, push the button, the wings pop out.
Oh, nice.
And that was a lot of fun. And I got from us. I can tell you where I was at a swap meet at my grandparents', and this dude just had like a giant table full of stuff, and I picked it up, and I remember the guy saying like, "Oh, you want a kid?" He's like 75 cents, and I'm like, "Oh, that's a lot of money. 75 cents. That, you know what I mean?" We would kill for those prices these days. But I think my grandfather was like, "Yeah, he just tossed in the money," and I brought it home, and that was I still have it. I play with that thing to the ground. Yeah,
I never had that, but it does look really cool, and I agree. It does have like a more like futuristic kind of quality to it. Mm-hmm. But just going back to the Batmobile real quick. So it had some really cool features. It looks like, so when you roll the wheels, like the flames on the back would spin, which kind of gave it, that's just a really nice touch, I think. It also had the guns, like, pretty seamless looking, that were built into the hood of the car. And it also had a launching, I don't know why you would do this, but it had a launching like missile at the front of it, which was actually like the front of the jet engine.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, Batman, he's got to be stacked with missiles and stuff like that. That's what I always liked about like older toys and stuff, is that everything was spring loaded, and it shot pretty good. I remember the missiles that came out the sides. Those things went far.
They did.
I remember you didn't want those rolling underneath the fridge when you shot them out.
Nope. That's a running thing I have with my mom. Is like, when I go back home, so I saw some toys at their house, like. But like growing up, like it was kind of like a running thing where I'd be like, "Oh, Mom, look at this," and then I would shoot her with the launching missile.
I was always told, like, you shoot anybody, I'm gonna take it away. And I'm like, no, please, I need this.
That's funny. So they also did the turbojet Batwing. So this was kind of like what Toy Biz did, but this was obviously the Kenner version. And, I never had this, so I can't really like attest to how cool it was or what it, what the features were. But I assume that the quality may have been a little bit better than the one that Toy Biz did.
You know what? I can't say that I had this one either, being that I had the first one with the janky wings. Maybe it was like a direct, maybe remold or something, reuse of their mold. But I mean, it's very similar in nature. But I'd love to see, like a comparison or something like that.
Yeah, I would too. Looking at the photos, though, it says 3 vehicles in one. It says converts to streetcar racer and turbo glider.
I remember the commercial for that. If I'm not mistaken, they made a big thing like it's 3 vehicles in one, and the little kid's like, "Oh my god, that's amazing!"
That's mind blowing.
Yeah, how can you do that? Tell me more.
Yeah, that's funny. But like street racer, it's a weird. Why would he be racing? But yeah, so it shows you the car mode that you can do that, and then it also shows like the glider mode. So I guess you could put Batman underneath it. Or underneath the wings at least, and basically, he can just like glide around Gotham City.
But I think that in going back in terms of talking about what Toy Biz did, I think in making this more accessible to kids and fun and turning it into 3 vehicles in one, that's like a no-brainer for a young kid playing with Batman figures.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, even as an adult, I'd love to see that. Like if a toy did that, I'd be like, yeah, I want to be able to do all these things with the toy.
Oh yeah, we're lucky if we get like one mode out of anything toy related these days.
So it looks like for the vehicles, they actually had like more of a budget version of this Batplane. So this one's called the Strike Wing vehicle, and it looked like aesthetically, it looks kind of fairly similar in the picture here to the larger Batwing, but I guess it's more of like, it wasn't as big, so it was like a little more affordable. And maybe this is something that. If you're giving a gift, you don't want to spend as much as the Batwing would have cost you buy something like this. Yeah,
exactly. Like I can imagine like being at a birthday party and being like, "Oh man, I really hope I got the Batwing," and then like some kid gives you the Strike Wing. You're like, "That's not. What is this? They want the cheaped out bat plane. Like, how could you? You're not invited. Get out of here."
So there's the Skyblade. And this one has like a really big propeller on top. I don't know if it launched or anything, but it was another like flying like craft that I guess Batman needed all these different flying craft apparently.
Yeah. I want to say, I think I had this or my brother had this one, and you could full on. The propeller would go and it would shoot Batman up. You'd be lucky if you kind of landed, anywhere other than just like straight down. But I want to say that it worked. It worked for the most part, I think.
Yeah, no, it did. I assume it did. I didn't have it, but I'll take your word for it.
I like how it says like really flies. It's like, yeah, right. But you know what? As kids, and I don't know if you did this, but I used to go up on like a balcony, and like launch things that would fly. Like let's say for instance this one or something like that. Like we would throw these things off, or if they had like parachutes, a lot of figures back in the day, like parachute Batman or parachute Spider-Man, you throw them off of like high ledges.
Yeah.
And then you see what happens, toys were pretty durable back in the day.
Yeah,
for the most part.
That sounds fun. I don't know that I ever did that very often. I think when I was probably a little I can only recall being like torturing like a couple of figures, like strapping them to like firework rockets and launching them into the sky, things like that. But
you're like Sid from Toy Story. My God, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, somebody told me that once. I was like, I wasn't Sid. I did this like once or twice.
We all did it. Yeah, we murdered our toys. Like it was we were rough.
Yep. So this was there was also Bola Bullet Vehicle, and it's kind of hard to say Bola Bullet Vehicle.
This
And
one I'm not like familiar. I mean,
no,
even looking at it now, I'm like, I don't know if I ever saw this. And also,
Yeah.
where's Batman's legs in this?
exactly. Where is poor guy? Yeah, I don't remember that at all. There's a Bat Cycle. That seems plausible. It's a very like radical design for a Bat Cycle, but to me that's a little bit more plausible than Bola Bullet Vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. The Batcopter, that was a good one too. I remember that one.
Yeah, and I think again, several of these were repackaged for Batman Returns, and I think this might have been one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that
If I remember, yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, yeah. This is another one that I can kind of see a Batcopter like being in Batman's arsenal for whatever reason. Like that seems plausible too.
Oh, totally. Yeah. The Joker cycle. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I never had this.
I had it, but I never had the face. So it wasn't even like years later. I was like, oh, it used to have like a launching Joker face. You know what I mean? So
It's funny because, over the years, like, I've seen like features, like I've seen like the boxes for toys, or I've seen like videos on YouTube of toys, and they're toys that I might have had, like Ghostbusters or Ninja Turtles. But then in these videos or on the back of the box, you see that they actually had these features. And then I think back and I'm like, oh, I had these accessories. I didn't know that it was supposed to do this or that.
yeah, exactly. If I remember correctly, most of these always had like some kind of instruction booklet and then like a cross sale booklet, that they used to do. They heavily did it with like Batman Returns.
Yeah, they did.
But, as a kid, sometimes even to this day, even when I get a new Transformer, I'm like, somebody will go like, oh yeah, did you know it did this? I'm like, yeah, no, I had no idea about that.
Yeah, no, they did. And, when you're 5 or 6, you're probably not really looking at that too much. You just want to play with the toy.
Yeah.
And this is interesting. So there's a note at the bottom of this one that says the Joker Cycle was a reissue of the Skull Hog from Kenner's 1988 RoboCop line.
Oh, okay. I always love when you hear little things like that, because then you see it and you're like, oh yeah, that's and it's funny, you don't always get like, maybe the colors throw you off or something. It's not when you see until you see them like side by side where you fully realize you're like, oh my god, this whole time.
Yeah, no, that's funny. Yeah, so I think that pretty much rounds out the vehicles. There was a Bat Cave, but was it in? It doesn't show it here. So did that first start with Batman Returns, or was it in this line as well? There's just not a picture.
I want to say with the Toy Biz one, they had that cave, and then I want to say that it started with Returns, because then they reused the heck out of that thing.
Yeah.
Like every other
They
Batman line after that, they were just like, oh yeah, we could totally
Yeah.
use this again and blah blah blah. So yeah.
No, so I think that pretty much rounds out that line. But Toy Shiz, I really feel like seeing some of these and knowing that I didn't have them, I'm intrigued, and I kind of feel like even now as at my current age, like getting them from eBay and just like getting to see them for the first time in person and experience all that they do just looks fun.
Yeah, I know. Now, like last time when we talked about Independence Day, like I was on a couple sites and eBay and stuff like that, looking at them, like I should get a couple more. And like in sitting here looking at my Toy Biz Batman figure, like we were talking about, like I wouldn't mind having like a nice, a lot of my stuff is always like put away, but I wouldn't mind having like the Batcopter, or even like the motorcycle or something, just to have him sitting on, like sit on my desk or something like that. So
yeah, no, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's just funny because I didn't know about a lot of these until like the internet, like years and years later. I was actually researching these on the internet, and then you're like, oh, they made this, they made that. I didn't know that. I wish I would have known about that. And you kind of realize like some of these toy lines were pretty big compared to what you often saw in the stores.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I think it'd be great, like to, when there's not a lot of other things to buy, like to kind of go back and grab some of these and, just experience them for the first time and see what, we missed out on as kids.
Yeah, exactly. And I do, and every once in a while I go back and I get an old vehicle or playset or something like that. And depending on how I get it, I like to kind of refurbish it, or it's fun to eventually put it back together. It's if you when you find the pieces or whatever in weird places, that's like the best part, because you're not expecting that. And the only reason this is working out is because you're actually putting this thing together in the first place. So you can go on eBay anytime. You can buy the heck out of everything, but it's when it's almost like the universe is like, here's this part, like 6 months later, or something like that. And I'm like, awesome.
Definitely.
You have that sense of like accomplishment of putting together something that was lost, like pieces,
right.
And you bring it all back together again.
Yeah, no, I love it. What else have we had in terms of, I'm trying to think of the Batman, like 1989 merch that we've had since then. So we mentioned the Hot Toys earlier. They did do Joker. They also did a Batman figure. NECA did like a quarter scale 1989 Batman a few years ago, didn't they?
Yeah, and if we're being completely honest, they're the top. Like it's a miniature little Michael Keaton.
yeah
they knocked it out of the park with that, and oftentimes, as they do with most of their toys. But the reason, and I was actually talking to NECA and saying, like, your guys' figure is Michael Keaton in a suit from the movie, and then when you have like this new Mattel DC Multiverse one, it's Kenner or Toy Biz making these figures. They're not accurate, but it's accurate to what they put out back in the day, and that's what I appreciate from it. It's the simplicity, and also it's an old figure kind of reborn kind of again, and it's cool to put them next to each other and see the the likeness and how articulation has changed, and
yes,
and just everything in general. So
yeah, no, totally agree. So NECA also, I think they scaled down that quarter scale figure, and they also did a 7-inch version of that Batman, and it's not the most articulate. Like, the articulation is very stiff on the figure, and he's got that suit, so there's not a whole lot of movement from it. But like, just having him like for shelf presence on the shelf, like, that figure looks amazing.
Yeah, it does. And they also did, they took that mold and they put the NES colors for the video game.
Yep.
And it's the same figure with a new paint scheme, but it breathes a different kind of life into it, and it's just it's awesome. They did a great job with both.
They did. I remember seeing those at Toys R Us, and I never got the multicolored one, but it looked cool.
Yeah, it's fun when you can like recreate. I mean, you're saying like video game colors, you know what I mean? Like, not something that I guess has ever really been done until like the more modern technology and ideas and things like that. So it's different, and you're just like, oh yeah, of course. So why wouldn't I want a Batman in his purple and blues NES colors?
Yeah, I think that's more something that's come about as, people that played with those earlier video games have gotten older. They're more nostalgic for that, and I think these toy companies kind of see that they can capitalize on that a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm glad they are, because in your head as a little kid, you're thinking like, oh, I'd love a figure like that. And honestly, I mean, you have the toys that we grew up with, and there's nothing wrong with them. They weren't the most accurate, or they weren't the most like, the best that could be made at the time. But now that you're older and now you're seeing what companies are doing, it's just like, man, that's the cool, and that's what all the nostalgia comes from.
Yeah,
it's just like,
that's true.
That is so cool that they can do that nowadays. So
definitely. So other than that, can you think of any other Batman 89 merchandise that anybody else has put out?
I would say, I mean, outside of like McDonald's, kind of doing like McDonald's toys, which were kind of fun. I think they did it more for returns, though, in that sense. But
yeah.
I'm trying to think in the back of my head. Nothing that really stands out. And I think we've covered most of it. There is a a bendy Batman '89 figure that's hitting Walgreens right now.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I'll send you the photo.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
I saw that back at I want to say it was like February, March. It's the Bendhams, kind of. You remember them? Yeah,
Oh,
they're
man.
doing stuff like that. They're doing Voltron too, and the Universal Monsters. So yeah, I'll send over a photo and stuff.
Nice. Yeah,
So it's always cool to see weird stuff that pops up for '89.
it is. I kind of wish that we would see more though, because there's not a whole lot, and of any year, you would think that this year there'd be a little bit more of it coming out.
Yeah.
I mean, Hot Toys hasn't done anything this year, and I mean, no one other than that Bendham's figure you're telling me about. I can't think of anything else that's been done. SH Figure Arts and especially Mayfax, they've been like really big on like the Justice League and like even like the Dark Knight trilogy figures in 6-inch. I'm like really surprised that like they haven't attempted like more of like the Keaton Batman or those films.
I know, and I'm wondering if it's more in the terms of for whatever's happening behind the scenes with Warner Brothers, and it's stuff that we can only speculate on because you hear so many different stories and everything else, and it's kind of like the troubles that Mattel ran into with, if you're going to make our figures, you got to make these movie lines, and movie lines don't sell, and everyone goes, oh, Mattel can't make good figures, and it's not true. You know what I mean? It's just like it's the happenstance of dealing with a company, and they want these particular characters because they're running with a new brand and everything else. And I'm wondering if it has to do more with like, what are they trying to push right now? What characters are they trying to push? And is Batman '89 really the thing that we want to push? Don't we want to do like the new characters and how Batman looks and how the Joker looks? And, it could have something to do with that. Oh, do Batman the Animated Series. That's always popular. Is Batman '89 as popular? You know what I mean? I could see a bunch of people sitting around at a conference table, just talking and then not really going anywhere with it.
Yeah, I mean, because even like companies like DC Collectibles, they're the ones that did like all the Arkham figures. They did like the Batman the Animated Series lines. Like not even them have really gotten like into like the older Batman films, and it does surprise me a little bit. It really does.
Yeah, and you'd think, I mean, Multiverse did the Val Kilmer Batman. They did this recent. It's not quite, Michael Keaton, but it's the Toy Biz Batman or the Kenner Batman from the lines from the movie. I think even though we make fun of like Batman and Robin and such, to have a George, I don't know if I told you this. I didn't really post about it because I was going to do like a Batman video. I found at a garage sale on Batman Day, I found a George Clooney Batman doll. It's like a 12-inch doll. He's got rubber armor and like all this stuff. I'll send you a photo. But I think nowadays is the perfect time to kind of emulate that. You know what I mean? Like, it's wild and wacky, but do a line of Batman figures that incorporate all the movies or the animated series or something like that. Like Batman Through the Ages, something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Especially with the 80 year anniversary that this is this year, and if we're being honest, I think it's been a little bit lackluster.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of Batman stuff coming out, but in talking about it with you now and seeing all this stuff, like that would have been awesome to do a whole new Batman line, with weapon or vehicles in a place that, what I mean, just something that's very limited, but brings that nostalgia back, or starts it over for kids, because some Batman lines for kids, and not knocking it, but it's not always the most. You can't put Batman in the Batmobile kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I don't know. I feel like these films obviously still exist, and a lot of us are nostalgic for them at this point because we were kids when they were out. So I just, I'd love to see more merchandise. I know that Hot Toys actually at Comic-Con, I don't know if you saw it, they had Chris O'Donnell Robin on display.
You know what? Yeah, I did, and it's funny. I didn't. Comic-Con was crazy, but I did see the photos of that, and I was like, yeah, why not? You know what I mean? Like, of course, like, why wouldn't you do a Chris O'Donnell Robin? I mean,
yeah, and also in Hong Kong, they had on somewhere they had displayed a sonar suit Batman from Batman Forever.
oh, now see, that would be cool. I didn't actually see that. I gotta check that out.
Yeah, I'll look for it. That it looks really cool. I mean, I totally would pick those up.
Unfortunately, there was supposed to be a Jim Carrey Riddler figure. Amazon accidentally put up listings and stuff because it was in talks and it was supposed to be made and such, but never actually came about. And a lot of people had messaged me saying like, "Oh my God, Amazon's doing a Riddler figure," and I was like, "It was." But they're not doing it now. And I
Yeah,
remember talking to Mattel, and I'm like, oh my God, that would have been so cool to have like all his weird costumes that he had during the movie and his hairstyles.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's too bad.
One of these days, somebody will do it.
One of these days. And you know who else? You know, I'm just remembering. Actually, Mezco had a really awesome looking 1989 Batman on display. I don't know when that's coming out though.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's been kind of pushed back. I think they unveiled it in February at Toy Fair. Probably next year, I would say, something like that. They're on their last Sovereign Night, or their trilogy of Batmans from like starting to Old Man Batman kind of deal. So maybe it is still coming. I know that, but haven't really heard anything
Right on.
as to the exact dates. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And that, I don't know if you saw it up close, but that looks awesome.
It does. That's a must-have.
Yeah. I remember they're like at Toy Fair, they're like, "What's your favorite one?" And I was like, I wanted to say the Ghostbusters, but that was like the one time I was like, the Batman '89 looks awesome. Yeah. And I know the Ghostbusters are going to be really expensive, so I'm going to go with the cheaper one now.
I think the Ghostbusters the Mezco ones are like $300 for the whole set.
Yeah, and not to knock them, but there's really only so many times you can do the Ghostbusters over and over and over again. So that's why it was kind of like I have so many figures of the Ghostbusters, real Ghostbusters, and everything.
Right.
So putting them in cloth suits and everything, and I think a lot of people had said like the likenesses were just a tad off, you know. So, and it's it's a nice set. Most definitely.
It is. I mean, it's definitely, when you look at it, you can tell that's like a collector set. You know, that's definitely meant to appeal to somebody that's willing to pay that much for 6-inch figures.
Yeah.
But I also felt like the fabric suits on those Ghostbusters were also kind of a little bulky in some areas.
Yeah, what do they call it? Like the Mezco bulge or something. And you know what? Yeah, that's they've done a great job with figuring out, putting cloth suits on a 6-inch figure. But oftentimes, yeah, I mean, it doesn't work with every single one. But it's a learning thing, and then they always fix it on the next one. It seems like so.
Yeah, well, I think we've done a pretty good job, with this Batman 1989 30th anniversary retrospective. We've covered the film pretty thoroughly. We've got into things we like about it, things that we nitpick about, and the awesome cast. And of course, we talked the toys from Toy Biz and from Kenner, and the ones that we had, and our memories and nostalgia and all that. I feel like we've rounded up pretty well, but is there anything else that you would like to note here as we part ways?
I would just say that 89, there's something where it's achieved that timelessness, and no matter if you're a Batman fanatic or just a casual fan, I mean, everyone has seen it or everyone knows about it. Even if you don't even care much for it, there's something about it that's elegant, that's very timeless, and it'll probably, let's say the Nolan ones have really made their mark. People love those movies, but with the exception of the Nolan movies, I'd say that Batman '89 transcends even like the stuff that they're doing now with the modern DC multiverse or DC universe and such. So I think they need to do more with it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really ripe when you think of like Batman toys. I mean, they've done plenty in recent years for the newer movies. The Dark Knight trilogy, I mean, they did a lot of toys. A lot of them weren't that great at the time. The Movie Masters that Mattel did, I actually think that's a pretty great line. But, at this point, these other films, the Keaton films especially, are so far back at this point that I don't know if it's just that the companies are trying to focus more on the new content, which, is totally understandable, or what. But it feels like these other films are also pretty ripe if they wanted to, create like a collector oriented line, like whether it's from Mayfax or whoever really. There's a lot of stuff there's a lot of potential there. I mean, I know a lot of people would love to have like a 6-inch scale like Keaton Batmobile. I mean, who wouldn't?
Oh yeah,
it would take up a lot of room. And I have the one that Mattel did for Justice League, the 6-inch scale, and I also have their Adam West Batmobile in that scale. So I know they take up a lot of room, but it would be amazing to see.
Oh yeah, no, that's exactly right. Like it's all about picking and choosing what you really want, and if you got the room to display it, that's what makes it even better. Because I have to constantly shift things, I feel like.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yep. The universal toy collector problem.
Right? Yeah. It's like, oh, I just got this. Shoot. Now I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put this Brachiosaurus once I.
Oh yeah.
once I get this guy. Oh my god.
I have no clue where that's going. I haven't even picked up the Super Colossal Blue yet, just because I don't have the room for it.
I haven't seen that, but I figure maybe later down the line I'll pick that one up too. Even though I try to keep them all on like scale kind of thing. I'm like, what am I gonna do with a giant raptor? But it's pretty great looking. It's painted beautifully and.
It looks to be. I haven't seen it in stores, but I know Amazon's had it for a while now. So yeah. Eventually, I'll just have to. I joke with my husband sometimes, like when he says, "Where are you going to put it?" And I'm like, "Oh, I never asked that question until after I bought it."
Yeah, exactly. Like you buy it, then you ask questions later.
Yep.
Well, I would say that there's so much good, awesome stuff, and anybody that likes any type of property or Netflix show or comic book or TV show for that matter, you got toys. They're making office toys, Friends and all that kind of stuff. So
Golden Girls,
which I have those. Somebody asked me the other day, like, "Oh man, can you believe they made those?" I'm like, "Yeah," because I used to watch the heck out of that show, and I it's one of those memory kind of show. You watch it with your grandparents, something like that.
Yeah, so. Yeah, totally. Lots of stuff out there, and people like merchandise, obviously, and we're seeing it more and more. People like having a piece of something that they were passionate about and something that they loved a lot, and this Batman film is no exception. Like I said, it goes back to something that was very prominent for us when we were in our formative years. We were little kids, and we had these toys. So there's a lot of, meaningfulness behind them, a lot of nostalgia there. And I think that plays into why we still, enjoy this film so much and why we still like these toys. And I don't foresee that ending anytime soon. I hope that, this is always going to be an important film to me. And I assume that the toys will always have, their own little space in my collection here.
Right, yeah, somebody asked me the other day, like, when does this end? I'm like, it doesn't? I don't know. They're going to be buried with me? How does that? I don't know how it works.
So, yeah, I think we've covered this pretty well. And, my friend, as always, it's been a blast.
Yes, thank you.
We've talked well over 2 hours at this point about.
We always do. We always got much to talk about.
We do, like. And we always go off on our little tangents, the random territory, Pee Wee Herman, dinosaurs, and all these other things.
Oh, those poor dinosaurs! They froze at the end. That's terrible. Oh my god! I got to go to bed thinking of that now. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I very much appreciate you having me on, and hope that everyone else is not clicked off by now and they've stayed the entire time. You better have.
A huge congrats to those of you that made it all the way to the end.
You won. You won a prize.
You won a prize. You won our appreciation for listening to our entire episode. And
yeah.
So, Toy Shiz, where can our listeners find you at online?
I always try to make it pretty easy on people. It's my initial, we'll say, coverage site and everything is on Instagram. So you can find me Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. I'm on TikTok now, which is I'm getting all hip with the kids, as they say. Yeah. Oh my God, it's just blowing up over there. It's crazy. I'm still learning. It's just Toyshiz, TOYSHIZ. You can find me anywhere, and feel free to always contact me, private message me, email me, toyshiz@gmail.com. Always happy to talk with new collectors, or if you got any type of questions, I'm there. Let's talk about it. So.
Very cool. So yeah, you're always very busy online, keeping up with the latest toy news and passing along the latest toy news to the benefit of every toy collector out there. So huge thanks for all the hard work you put into this hobby.
Oh, of course, thank you. I mean, I always enjoy a good sale, and I'm glad everyone else does too. I hardly ever find the sales, but I'm happy that when people actually do, I'm like, oh, this is working. It makes it all worthwhile. Aww.
Yeah, so. Nice. Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll do this again. And until next time, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
There's something new in Gotham City.
It's Batman!
Like you've never seen him before. Figures and vehicles sold separately.
Flashy does, Batman. My tech shield suit protects me. Even against this sludge, your poison can't hurt my tech shield suit. Bye, Batman. Think again, Joker. My Batcopter, fire! Ah, where does it get these great weapons? You're finished, Joker.
Tech Shield Batman, Batcopter, and Joker sold separately. Part of Batman, the Dark Knight collection.
$30 you guys. Where does the time go? When you put it in a numerical perspective like that, 30 years just sounds like a lifetime ago. And I mean, it really was a long time ago. That's 3 decades and a lot of history between myself and this film. I mean, that's a long relationship. And this was basically my first proper introduction to Batman. So being a little kid and, growing up with this version of Batman, that's always going to have a special place in my heart. I'm sure the same is true for Toyshiz. And Michael Keaton is my Batman. His Batmobile is my Batmobile. I mean, it's all classic stuff. The toys, all of that. So I'm always going to love this film. The toys are always going to have a special place in my heart, in my collection. And I'm just going to always cherish that. And thanks again to Toyshiz for coming on the show and talking all things Batman 1989. I will place links in the show notes so that you can follow him on his respective social media pages. And I am happy to announce that Toyshiz will be coming back to Cantina Chatter podcast so that we can do a Ghostbusters 35th anniversary retrospective in the near future. So stay tuned for that. I'm really excited to talk to him once again. Always a blast. If you aren't already, subscribe to the place it all started, the Victoria's Cantina YouTube channel, where I review new toys and showcase retro toys from the past. You can also follow us for news and updates on Facebook by looking up Victoria's Cantina, toy photography on Instagram at Victoria's Cantina, and a constant drip of toy-related and other random and nonsensical tweets on Twitter at Vic's Cantina. If you're so inclined, we are on Patreon. Gain greater access to Victoria's Cantina by becoming a Patreon Cantina patron. For as little as $1 a month, you'll help to keep the show going and also get exclusive content such as access to a private Twitter feed, early access to toy reviews, and behind-the-scenes featurettes. And if you can't, but you still want to help us out, one of the easiest and most helpful things you can do is leave us a review over on Apple Podcasts. It only takes a minute, so hit that 5-star rating and leave a note stating why you enjoy the show. It'll make us more visible on iTunes and help others to find our show. As always, I'm Victoria, and no matter where you're listening out in the galaxy, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to the Cantina Chatter podcast.